dispenser that is not working, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would have gotten into that already. And right across the river is where I'm going to be later tonight at Dickey-Stevens Park for the Razorback. Well, I guess you could call it annual, but then they went 2 years without coming in here, 2020 because of the pandemic, and then didn't schedule a game here in 2021. But ever since 2010, the Hogs have come into play here at Dickey-Stevens Park, and doing it again this year against an in-state school, against UAPB for 6 o'clock ball game. So it's going to be an interesting day for both of us. A little different than usual because, I think you like doing radio, Matt. I think by now I can say I know that. Otherwise, I don't think you'd still be doing this after a year and a half with me. But when it's radio, it's very rare that people are looking at you, watching you speak. So you're somebody that would perform in front of tens of thousands of people, but you didn't have to do any speaking except to your teammates. So that makes today much different for you.
I'm definitely a reluctant star. I'm not really never been a look at me type of guy, and that's what it feels like when you're up on stage. It's like, hey, but. It's for a good thing, and I'm excited to learn a little bit as well because you got a new soccer team in Northwest Arkansas
That's
coming
right.
to the States. Coming to Arkansas in a couple years, and then what the Rangers are doing down here, trying to build and the continued growth. So I'm just as excited as I think all the other people, just to see the vision and see what they got going on.
Well, then there is the idea that the World Cup is being played in 2 locales that, while they're not in the state, are kind of a short drive away in the summer of 2026. So, and they've made this thing pretty popular here in Central Arkansas. And I hope the same thing happens in Northwest Arkansas too. What makes today's baseball game different for me is that this will actually be a televised baseball game at Dickey-Stevens Park. It's not the first time they've done that, by the way. I think at least the first 3 or 4 years that the Razorbacks went into play in North Little Rock, that Cox was still able to televise the game because that's before the contract with ESPN and the SEC network came up, and Cox wasn't able to televise anything that was classified as a home game or in any other SEC ballpark. So this is actually going to be a production of RSN. It'll be an SEC Network Plus telecast, but they're using the radio broadcast as the play-by-play. So this will be the first time that I have ever done a simulcast. So I was just kind of, so there's a difference in performing between what you did as an athlete and what you're doing today. There's a difference in doing a radio broadcast and a TV broadcast. Although I'm not doing any stand-ups or anything, I'm not going to put on the Gold Network blazer and do the stand-up and pretend.
You get the little mic, the little skinny mic.
Practice how to hold my microphone right there in front of my chest and not move my arms and give the very terse smile and the nod and all of those kind of things that I've practiced doing a few times before, but I don't have to do that today. It's just basically when you're watching the television broadcast, you're going to be listening to a radio broadcast at the same time. Though I know a lot of people already do that. It just takes them some time to
finagle it,
like time up, between the two streams. Now the streams are all going to be synced up for you. So this actually means that this year, because the basketball game that the men's team played at Verizon Arena or Simmons Bank Arena, that was televised. So now for the first time in an athletic calendar year, we've got both games that get played in Central Arkansas being televised. The odd thing is that when the women's team would have played in Little Rock against the Trojans, that would have been televised no matter what because it's in their building and, they have their OVC deal. So it does make it a little different for me today, though. Hey, going over to Dickey-Stevens is just like returning home for me. So I helped. The only thing I helped there was design the windows in the radio booth, which actually are still functional and gives you a big, wide open view. And I'm excited to get over there. It's going to be a packed house. I mean, when the Hogs play at Dickey-Stevens, it doesn't matter who it is they play. They're going to show out for this. It's been sold out for a while.
What's UAPB's Super Bowl? This is their chance to play against the best. Their biggest game of the year, I'd have to think. Is it a one game off? Is it a one off?
It's just one thing. It's a one game. UAPB 13-22 record. You know what's kind of cool about this game today is the pitcher who is going to start for UAPB is Jordan Jones, and that's Jason Jones's brother, who is an Arkansas outfielder. And we've seen Jason get a few more opportunities on the weekend, so I'm hoping, I would assume, that he'll be starting against his brother, so that'll be kind of fun. I remember last year, I can't remember the kid's name, but Ben McLaughlin's brother played against Arkansas with Ben on the team too, so that was kind of neat. But we didn't have one pitch to the other. So in this case, I mean, you'll have a Jones as long as now it depends on where Jason hits in the batting order and whether or not Jordan Jones can make it through that first inning. And I mean, I say that fully respectfully, but also with the idea that Arkansas they have a history of blowing UAPB out. I think they've ruled them 4 times in 5 games, so who knows? But I'd love to see two brothers go up against each other. You're right in front of 9,000 people in a place like that. That's cool.
It's something they'll never forget. They'll cherish that. You got to see the Kelsey brothers in a Super Bowl a couple years ago. It's pretty cool. And then the NBA playoffs last night, Phil, it was out of control. The home teams have held serve so far. They're 11-0 to start these. I don't know what the record is to see what consecutive wins for home games, but I was watching the Lakers Nuggets play, and everybody was watching. The Lakers kind of were dominating in the first half, and Denver's just kind of poking along, not letting them get too far away, but just kind of poking along. And then, man, they just clamped down on defense, ran this 2-man game with the Joker and Jamal Murray, Porter Jr., which Porter Jr. is a little fool's gold to me, a little Chris Middleton. Like, I get it. You got to have a 6'9" rangy guy that just spots up around the corner shooting threes. He's athletic enough, but that final shot, the buzzer, fading right, Crow step back, and over Anthony Davis, who's one of the best defensive players to ever play. It was pretty cool.
I didn't watch a single minute of basketball last night. I was at a Passover Seder with my kids, so we were recounting the 10 plagues and dropping one little drop of wine on our plate for each of them, and had my first matzo ball soup in years. It's been a while since I grew up Jewish and still am, but I haven't really been able to observe the holiday very often because there's usually games. We never have a game on a Monday, so this actually worked out. I could go to the Seder and took my eye off of almost everything else going on for like 4 hours, and then by the time I got home, it's time to go to bed.
The cool thing, Phil, which I mean that was cool as well. How excited the Nuggets were after the win. They celebrated like winning the final, like little kids, and that's the joy, that's the excitement. Long season, long grind. Second playoff game. What do you got to win? 4, 8, 12, 16 games to win the championship? That's their they celebrated like that. I mean, they just all dogpiled and just celebrated. I mean, it's pretty cool to see the playoff atmosphere. I love the NBA in the playoff time.
The Knicks had a big comeback against the Sixers, too. They're up 2 games to none, but like you're saying, if the home teams continue to hold serve, maybe end up with a 2-2 tie after the next couple of games. Halftime today is obviously a little different. Matt takes off at 12, so we can go well, I shouldn't say entertain. Your job is to kind of tell your story about soccer, which you've done here on this show, and then kind of you're moderating.
Just ask some questions, kind of figure out. That's what I'm excited about is to just to see what their vision is, see how they're going to grow. I really think it starts with the youth. If you're gonna build something. And that's what they're doing here, and so if you can get an academy or you keep growing, getting the excitement in the air. And are they going to be in the same division as the team in Northwest Arkansas? Do you have relegation in American soccer? There's stuff over there. How similar is it to European soccer?
Hey, I mean, Mike brought up Mike Irwin yesterday talked about briefly the idea of the Super League, the college football Super League that's been kicked around by some business leaders. One of the divisions that they are going to put together, if that happens, would be a division that would be based upon relegation and promotion from about, 70 teams into 7 divisions. And those are the power teams, essentially, from the SEC, Big 10, Big 12, ACC, those ones. And then the last division would be, I guess you'd call it like not your FCS, but your group of 5 conferences. And those 10 could be relegated and promoted up and down. So that'd be really interesting if it does happen.
Most expensive game in sports, Phil. is the promotion regulation battle in European soccer, especially in Premier League. And I put it the way where they do Champions League, it would kind of be like the Italian league, the French league, the German league, the Spanish league, and the English league. That's your power five. And then you take three of the whatever you finish in those leagues, the top four, they go play in their own tournament each year. So it's real similar to that model that you're going on. So if you were to have these teams and say who goes in the playoffs out of those four leagues, your top four, then they go into that tournament. It seems that's the way they're kind of going from what you're saying, if you're kind of correlating it that way.
Got to eliminate one of the leagues because the Pac-12 is obviously done, so we're going to have to just go with the Power Four in European soccer now because it has to mirror American college football.
Right. Hey, it's the atmosphere is this. You want to talk about the closest thing to an atmosphere if it's not an Oklahoma City Thunder basketball? I mean, some NBA teams have it. But college football to me still has the most camaraderie, most pageantry, just the most excitement. And you see college sports. You saw it with Iowa basketball this year. You know, they're always looking for a reason to get excited.
All right, so halftime here will be Bill King in hour number 3. I'll be talking with Alyssa Orange at 12:15. During that second hour, we're going to do a lot of Arkansas baseball talk, and that's the time to get in your calls and your texts about Arkansas baseball. Of course, there is the news. Lots coming on in Arkansas recruiting, both for football and for basketball. Snacks Johnson's in the portal. Karter Knox is committed to Arkansas basketball and really committed to Cal when it comes right down to it. So lots to get to as far as all of that is concerned. And we'll hit on a lot of that with the voice of the Razorbacks, Chuck Barrett, on the McClarty Daniel hotline in just a little bit here on Halftime.
This is Halftime.
Here's the 1-1. Swung on, skied in the left. That ball's hit pretty well. It is gone. Brett Eibner's hit a home run and the ball game's tied. Brett Eibner has hit a home run and the ball game is tied. The Razorbacks down to their final out, and Eibner, for all his troubles this season, has just saved things.
Listen to every Razorback baseball game on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Get 2.9% financing for 72 months on a GMC Sierra Crew Cab at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Choose from 2.7 or 5.3-liter Sierra Crew Cabs this month and get 2.9% for 72. Or get up to $6,500 in factory rebates on select 2024 GMC Sierra trucks. Conquer with confidence in a new GMC from Harry Robinson Buick GMC. We are professional grade. Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Pay attention. This happens fast. You need money. You get a job. Turns out that job doesn't pay near enough for the nonsense it puts you through every day. You want to move fast, but the clock moves slow. You're smart, though. You know machines. You want to work at a place as fast as you. You call Medley Equipment Company. They need a technician, and they'll teach you everything you need to know to be the best, with pay raises all along. Because Medley keeps you moving.
I'm Branch Manager Dennis Mabry. Visit medleycompany.com or see us at 4001 Harper Avenue, Fort Smith, Arkansas.
It's spring cleaning sale time at Jelco Outdoors. Savings from 50 to 75% off on select clothing, footwear, hunting and fishing equipment, casual clothing, hunting clothing, work clothing for men, women, and children, work boots, safety shoes, western boots, all 50 to 75% off. Rods, reels, baits, hunting equipment, all 50 to 75% off. Select group of handguns, rifles, and shotguns in the firearms department at cost or below. Don't miss the big spring cleaning sale at Jelco Outdoors in Fort Smith.
Nothing says summer fun like fishing with a Thill Bobber with the family. America's favorite floats by Thill are available in a variety of sizes and colors. These premium balsa wood floats are made by the thousands at Pradco in Fort Smith, Arkansas. They are great at detecting the slightest bites by fish and work great in tandem with crickets and redworms. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle shops everywhere. America's favorite floats by Thill.
You will never find a boring old burger at Art's Barbecue and Burgers in Fort Smith. Try the Wild West Burger, topped with a hot link, jalapenos, and Art's hot sauce. The Brisket Burger, with tender brisket and caramelized onions on top of their hand-patted burger. Or the famous Art Attack, with house bacon, smoked ham, an onion ring, and a fried egg. There are 10 different burgers to choose from, and they're all $1 off every Saturday. Art's Barbecue Burgers and more. Rogers Avenue, next to Buddy's in Fort Smith.
And we're back with the action. Coke Zero Sugar might be the best Coke ever.
That's right, Jim. With an irresistible taste and zero sugar, Coke Zero Sugar is a must-try for any sports fan. So make sure you... Wait, Jim, I didn't mean try it right now. We're still on the air.
Best Coke ever? Take a taste, Jen.
Really?
No, not right now, Jen. We got a game to call.
Brothers Roofing and Restoration, a licensed and insured local roofing contractor in Arkansas. Since his playing days for the Hogs, Brother Alexander has been on rooftops, many years as an adjuster, and in the past decade as a roofing contractor. He knows how to help you through the insurance process while replacing your roof using only the industry's best materials. And being a lifelong Arkansan, he'll be here to stand behind his workmanship and warranty. Call 479-353-3877 to arrange a time for Brother and his team to inspect your roof.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Don't pop his hair, please don't fix your everywhere. Somewhere to consider. Down the cover, Jack and Jill, and you came tumbling after. Somewhere to consider. Rip away the tears. Drink a whole few happy years. You may find lifetimes passed you by.
The Cal era is here. Championship Under Construction is brought to you by Limbird Real Estate Group, serving all of Northwest Arkansas, Missouri, and the River Valley. For all your real estate needs, go to LimbirdTeam.com. Limbird Real Estate Group, serving all of Northwest Arkansas, Missouri, and the River Valley. For all your real estate needs, go to LimbirdTeam.com. Maverick Male Medical, your wellness and aesthetic center for men in Northwest Arkansas. Look better, live better, love better. Visit MaverickMaleMedical.com.
Head to the McClarty Daniel Hotline, and joining us today on a Tuesday morning is the one and only voice of the Razorbacks, Chuck Barrett. Good morning, Chuck. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing fine, guys. I hope you are too.
Doing really good. We're at the Clinton Library. Matt is speaking to, well, he's moderating at the Little Rock Rotary for a meeting with the Little Rock Rangers, which is kind of cool. And then I'll be right across the river at Dickie Stevens today, which, by the way, is where I met you. That's the first time I ever met Chuck Barrett, 2010, Arkansas versus, I think it was Louisiana Tech. And I remember you borrowed a brown Comrex Vector, I think, from me. It's one of the things you remember, right?
Well, it's, those who know me know it would be odd that I'd forgotten something. But, no, I remember I was struck by the fact that your office was the broadcast booth. I mean, your desk and everything in there, I'd never seen that before.
Yep, and it'll be my office once I get off the show today. That's exactly right.
Well, it's not a bad office.
No, got the best view in town, actually. It might have the best view in the state, I think, when it comes to an office. So, but I left that, and it's kind of, I love when they're playing at Dickie Stevens Park, man. I think doesn't matter who the opponent is. It really doesn't matter much about what the weather's like. They show up for this ball game, and it's a different atmosphere. It's different than Baum.
It is. It's kind of like when there's a basketball game at Simmons Bank Arena. I mean, there's just a different vibe. You see people there that that's perhaps the only time they're going to come watch the Razorbacks play that year. And I think it's good. And I'm glad we play down there. I remember the first time it was sold out. I don't remember if that was the night we met or not. I don't remember if it was 2010 or not. But I remember coming over that Broadway bridge and seeing sold out on the sign there at the ballpark and thinking, wow. I can remember when I don't even think you had 5,000 people that knew there was a Razorback baseball team at Little Rock, much less to have the crowds that they've had at that ballpark. It's really impressive.
Well, Chuck, let's get in a little bit of the I guess I can use the term player personnel now. That's more of a pro sports term, I think, but I I think it works now for players that wouldn't have even been on our radar a month ago. And then John Calipari is now the new head basketball coach at Arkansas, and Karter Knox has now committed to the Razorbacks. This is an interesting kid. It doesn't seem like he's just like one of these, like an incoming freshman who doesn't come ready to play. He's got a body that is ready to play. A small forward, maybe it's 6'6", 230. That kind of stood out. And family history with Cal, and this is an instance, it seems, of a kid committing to the coach instead of necessarily the school.
Well, they've had a long-standing relationship, and so has Kenny Payne. In fact, before Cal came to Arkansas, when, Knox was being recruited prior to his commitment to Kentucky, I mean, it was down to Kentucky and Louisville. And Louisville was in the mix because of Kenny Payne. And I think when his older brother played for Kentucky, who I remember well, I think he was, from what I understand, he and Payne were very close. And so that's why Kenny Payne was in the picture when he was at Louisville, and pretty much made it a slam dunk when both of them were at Arkansas.
I guess it feels like there's just been a trickle of news as far as coaching staff and player personnel. You get Big Z. Now you know that there's going to be Karter Knox. We know about associate head coach Kenny Payne. But it's a trickle. It's a trickle, and I brought it up yesterday. I mean, I guess we all kind of expected that there would be a big flood of news of this kind of stuff, and I guess some of that stuff could still happen this week, because I mean it's been a little less than 2 weeks, I guess, but just a couple of players. But Cal told us to be patient, and I think we're all trying to be.
Well, I think that's what's going on. I would differ with those who say there's not been a good bit of news on this. I mean, every time I every time I pick up my phone, there's something on there about some kid that's, committed to Kentucky that's considering Arkansas. I mean, every day you see about those players. Now, I don't know. I think if people are wanting, like, thinking at the end of the week there's going to be a press release that, okay, this is our roster, this is everybody's number, this is what it's going to look like, that's not going to happen. But I think if you pay attention and you look at what's being reported out there, and some of it's, probably embellished, but I think most of it's, where there's smoke, there's fire. And I think if you pay attention, there is a good bit of news coming out. It's not spoon-fed. I mean, it's not a release from the university. I think people have to, maybe do their own deducing when they read some of this stuff, but I think it's coming together pretty well if you really, stop and read between the lines.
When you're Calipari and you go out and you're recruiting guys to come to this team, do you think there's a little bit of a cat and mouse where, like, hey, we want you, we want to offer you, but we want you to commit to us, because if we offer you, then somebody else offers you, and it's almost like if Coach Cal, I saw this stat, Chuck, that when Duke offered a basketball player, no matter what star he was, if he was a 3-star, he automatically jumped up to a 4-star. If he was a 4-star, he jumped up to a 5-star. Do you think there's some type of effect that when Coach Cal is on a player that everybody else looks as well? That's maybe why he's a little more secretive, or the way he goes about it?
Well, I think when you look at the landscape right now and, where these guys are, all the coaches, when you look at that overtime elite camp and they have the Nike Summit, a lot of these guys are in the same place. Mm-hmm. So I don't know that there's real secrecy about who they're after. I think what's happened is that, all the players who had committed to Kentucky, they've, decommitted. I think the perception by most, myself included, is that the vast majority of them, if not all of them, will end up here. But they are fair game, and they are free agents, essentially. And so they are going to be contacted by other schools. And other schools are putting their offers together, too. And my honest feeling on some of these kids, I'm not saying all of them, but some of them, is they got to get the deal worked out. I mean, I think I saw where one of the kids said, I don't know yet. I got to talk to my people. Back in the day, your people were your parents. and that coach was sitting across from you in your living room.
That's your financial
And
advisor.
that's when you committed.
Yeah.
That's all. Those are the only people you needed to talk to. Now you got to talk to your agent. You got to talk to your financial advisor. You got people. You got a camp now, and so I think that leads to a little bit longer process too.
I was going to ask you too, Chuck, if you think it's position specific as well. Like, you only offer once you get a commitment from a quarterback in your class, you don't get another quarterback. Could that be kind of the same thing with once you get two bigs? It's like, all right, well, that's our two bigs. Now we're going to try to get a point guard. Once we get our point guard or who you got, then you're not really offering another point guard. But then again in basketball, I mean, you want as much talent as you can get.
Well, I think there's some give and take there. Yes, you always, I would think, have a vision of what you want your roster to look like. What pieces you want to plug in, you recruit accordingly. You build your roster accordingly based on how you want the composition of your team to look. But again, the night he was introduced, he said some of these guys are worth waiting for. And when you talk about these players, they're not just weighing, which college they may end up playing for. I mean, some of them are trying to decide if they just want to go ahead and go to the NBA. So I just think when you're talking about this caliber of player, there's just more at play. I'll give you an example. And I said this the other day, and I'm not knocking any of these guys. I mean, we won a lot of games with them. They were great players. But you think about guys like Justin Smith and Audise Toney and some of those guys that, helped us win a lot of games that transferred in. They weren't weighing NIL offers. They weren't 5-stars that everybody in America wanted. They weren't weighing whether or not they wanted to go to the NBA. They weren't looking for the best deal. They weren't making a business decision like these kids are now. So I just think there's a lot more to consider. There's a lot more at play. And again, I mean, Matt, you think about when you were being recruited. Your recruitment was in that living room. Mm-hmm. And that coach was sitting right across from you. And your advisors were sitting right next to you. They were your mom and dad. And so when it came time for that coach to close you, those were the three people in the room he had to close. Now, you got to close them, and then they got to talk to their people. And may not even know who their people are. So it's just a whole different deal, I would think. I've not been in that room, but I can't imagine that it's not a lot different now.
And then Matt never went through that process again. He just did it once, made his choice, played 4 years. I read about a guy, who is his name here? Xavier Karter. He's a linebacker that was at UCF. Yesterday he announced he's going into the transfer portal. He has played at LSU, UNLV, UCF, another school. He's about to transfer to a fifth school in 5 semesters. It's not 5 years. That's 5 semesters. Look, I'm all about some of the free movement for some of the for student athletes in some of these cases, but this is an example of it going absolutely bonkers.
Is it too much? Or there's a reason why the other team's letting you go? Are you a bad locker? I mean, 5 times, and that it just seems excessive that maybe he's not as good as he thinks he is.
Well, I don't think there's any question about that, because the vast majority of the time when players leave, and I mean, I would say almost to a man, those who have entered the portal, for example, since spring football practices ended around the country, they found out they're either not going to start or they're not going to play. And so they're going somewhere else. There's been a lot of analogies drawn to the pros, and a lot of them are good analogies. One of the things we see in professional sports are journeymen, guys who play for different teams every year. Baseball particularly. You'll see a middle reliever. It's not uncommon at all to play for 5 teams in 5 seasons. If you're a backup left tackle in college football, you can't bust into anybody's starting lineup. Well, there's a pretty good chance you're going to be a journeyman too. The way you stay on scholarship, the way you keep money coming in is to keep moving around. Now, I'm not saying that's a good system, but I'm saying it is the system now. And if I was these kids, I got to be honest. Look, everyone out there tries to, I don't know that game the system's the right way to put it, but anybody that goes to work anywhere chooses a profession. You got to figure out the game. How do I play the game? How do I keep myself employed? How do I remain vital? How do I remain, viable? All those things are part of getting paid. And some of these guys, at least for 5-6 years, their profession is playing college football. Now, when that's done, they're going to have to pick a different profession. But for now, that's what they're doing to make ends meet. So I'm not surprised by this. It's an unintended consequence, but this is not going to be the exception. The stories that we kind of scoff at right now, like 5 teams in 5 semesters, 5 years from now, 3 years from now, maybe even next year, college football is going to be full of guys like that. We've already got basketball players that have played for 3 or 4 schools.
Hey, Chuck's with us on another segment. We can get into the McClarty-Daniel text line if you want to get on that and react. Is 877-377-6963. Remember Crabtree RV Center, when you're making your big plans for travel with the family this summer and you're looking for an RV, Crabtree RV will help your family choose the best RV for your adventures. The service and parts department is on site, so you know exactly where to go. It's everything you need in between at Crabtree RV, junction of I-40 and I-49 in Alma, right beside the Cracker Barrel, and at CrabtreeRV.com. Stay with Halftime. We're back in just a couple of moments.
This is Halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line Now.
The best selection of RVs is now even better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV has added Brinkley RVs to the already loaded lineup of Grand Design and Forest River products. See the Brinkley Model Z, the latest innovation in luxury fifth wheels. And like always, every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty, so you can camp with confidence. So stop in and find out why Wheels has been voted best RV dealer year after year. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 70.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McClarty-Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty-Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McClarty-Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McClarty-Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McClarty-Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is the #1 source for all your sports betting this season and every season. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends all at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. The fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite leagues and events. Go to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure you use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. Bet online, where the game starts.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor Abe from Woodland. Read about it.
This
I'm on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith in the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs in Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Join the conversation. Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now back to the host. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
We have the voice of the Razorbacks, Chuck Barrett, with us for one more segment here on Halftime. And it's just kind of on the same conversation we were just having about basketball in the portal. Kentucky's losing Ugonna Onyenso to the NBA draft. He said he was going into the draft, and this was a quote, not thinking about coming to play college basketball, 100% focused on the NBA. Well, he's now put himself in the transfer portal. You know, there's some money to be had for big men in college basketball, and right now there might not be much for those who wouldn't get drafted or in the second round and going to play in the G League.
I think they're the version of the quarterback in football right now. You know, your Sam Hartmans, your Bo Nixes, your guys that are developing. And the kid from Arizona is a fourth-year big that's transferring again for another year. But yeah, with that money there, why not? It behooves them to stay another year in school.
Yeah, you can't trust what someone said, Chuck. It was a week ago. He said he's 100% focused on the NBA. I don't know if that's the case.
Well, sometimes the message from the NBA may be you need to stay in college.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said for guaranteed money. And all these guys have to weigh their different situations. I just think that I think we're going to have to move beyond as observers and fans and all this. We're going to have to move beyond whether or not we think this is silly or whether or not we like it or dislike it or shake our heads and all that, because this is here to stay. This is how business is going to be done from now on.
It just seems like there's no I don't know what the right word is, but watching somebody grow anymore, it's just so manufactured. It's so artificial. It's just microwave. It's here then gone. You know, you're getting these guys so quick, 6 months, 9 months. You don't get to kind of build a relationship with it in whatever way we used to think of college sports as kids getting up there on the hill, maybe even redshirting for a year, and then you see them get better. Landon Blocker, Bay Fall. You know, you get to see guys get better over 3-4 years and see how they grow. And you don't get that anymore.
But also look at Snacks Johnson goes in the transfer portal, and fans developed a real relationship with him.
He's a player.
He started every game
good.
last year, but Arkansas also brought in somebody from the transfer portal in Danico Slaughter that took that job. So I mean, these things kind of go together, right? Don't they, Chuck?
Well, I just don't know that. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I don't disagree with anything anyone's saying on this. I just think that's an era going by now. I don't know how else to put it. I mean, I'm not happy that college sports is the way it is now. But no, there's not going to be that with everyone. You're going to have players just like Snacks Johnson. When they are informed they're not going to start, they leave. That's just how it works now. And again, we can, people can, lament this until they're blue in the face, but you better learn to play within the system or you're going to get left behind. And I'm a big believer in the old saying that if you're not prepared to deal with change, be prepared to deal with irrelevance. And this is how it is now. And if you can't win at this game, you're going to become irrelevant. And that's going to be the case regardless of how we feel.
And these kids' dream, what it is, Chuck, is they're trying to get to the NBA, and these playoffs have been ridiculous so far. The home teams have started out 11-0. I didn't know if you saw your Knickerbockers come back and get that. Oh my goodness! And then Jamal Murray, same thing. The next game, I mean, the playoffs have been pretty intense.
They are good, and the thing is, and like for example, the Knicks are the 2nd seed, and Philly's the 7th seed, but they're separated by 3 games in the regular season. So everybody's good, and how you play in the playoffs and how you play in the regular season are 2 different things. But I'll tell you, the Knicks had to pull one out last night. That's for sure.
So I want to ask about Slaughter coming in from Tennessee. I mean, he's got the kind of pedigree and played quite a bit at Tennessee last year too. So, so losing Snacks, that's up to him. I'm sure they would have liked to keep him, but once you say this is going to be our nickel, you kind of expect that somebody may leave at that point. Does Slaughter stand out to you at spring?
Well, I didn't see as much as they did, obviously. I know Pittman loved him. The coaching staff loved everything since he came in. And, it's hard to come in and beat somebody out that's played there before.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently that's what happened because he was listed number 1 on the depth chart going into the spring game. And Snacks Johnson's decision to go into the transfer portal kind of let you know that Slaughter was number 1 coming out of the spring game too. So they like his ability. They like what he's done since he's been here, and they feel like he gives them the best chance to win.
So his necessarily is not about money as much as it is playing time. Can we say so? That's probably a little bit more because to me, being a competitor, saying I'm going to find a way to get on the field, whether it be a rover, whether it be a different safety. I mean, there's other positions. If you're good enough, they're going to want to find a spot for you. And I think Snacks is good enough.
Got to do is play.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing you've got to do is play. There is no NIL money, or at least not more than a few crumbs. Not more than just standard fare. It's when you're a good player that people want you. And look at the guys that are in the portal right now. Pick your sport. I mean, they go from being a second teamer to being somebody people are bidding on. They're loved. They're pursued. Everybody tells them how great they are. I'm sure that's kind of addictive.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not surprised that he did it. I'm not surprised some of the other guys did it. And I think they'll continue to do it.
Chuck, we'll leave it there. Appreciate you hopping on as always. Thank you. Hope you're enjoying a little bit of quiet time, and we'll reconvene next week.
Well, it's a little different without a game, but I'll be listening to you tonight. So have a good call, and Matt put on a show for him today at lunch.
Chuck, I'm gonna channel my inner Chuck Nasty and do what Chuck Barrett would do. Okay, thanks, Chuck.
Chuck Barrett with us every Tuesday on Halftime. Is that the first time you've dropped a Chuck Nasty on him?
Well, off air, we get. He has he has the coolest nickname out of all of us. Corliss Williamson, the Big Nasty, and nobody better in the business than Chuck. And I joke, but seriously, when I watch Chuck with Calipari and doing the stuff, and you watch Chuck how he handles himself, I mean, he knows what he's doing.
Up on stage, no, he knows what he's doing up on stage. You feel weird when you're not used to it. I did that thing at the Fort Smith at Hardscrabble, which I had to get
everybody walked out
myself to that.
Everybody walked out smiling. They called the hogs, and that's the one thing when it's friendly fire. So you kind of gotta realize that a little bit.
So Matt, they'll tell you sometimes just picture everybody's naked. That's not true. That'll put the redness on your cheeks. All you got to remember is that there's a whole bunch of people out there. Look to your left, look to the middle, look to the right. Just look some people in the eye and make them look away from you. Okay. Yeah, creep them out exactly like that. That's what I meant.
Got my X-ray vision glasses on.
Matt, I would say break a leg, but I didn't really mean that, okay?
It's not going to end well for anyone, but I'm going to give it heck, all right?
Yeah, go get him, man. All right, we'll take care of the next hour here on Halftime, or a little more than that. I got C-Unit with me, too. Matt Jones will be back for hour number 3, so the phones will be open shortly. We'll have a really short segment coming up, and we wrap up the first hour of Halftime in just a moment.
This is Halftime.
Your home is your biggest asset. So when you decide to add a sunroom, a patio cover, a new driveway, or new windows, you need to call a company you can trust. Sawyers has been part of your community for over 30 years. They're insured, licensed, and have 100% financing for all of their products. Take all the worry out of your next project. Call Sawyers and let them handle it from permitting to completion. Sawyers, serving the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas with a full showroom located in Fort Smith or online at sawyers-sunrooms.com.
The best Tex-Mex and even better service is at Joe's Grill and Cantina in Fort Smith. Every Friday is Fajita Friday, featuring their charbroiled steak and chicken. It's tender, full of flavor, and comes with all the fixings. Saturdays are for endless enchiladas with Joe's homemade enchilada sauce and all the beef, chicken, or cheese enchiladas you can eat. Joe's Grill and Cantina. Great Tex-Mex, even better service. 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
Advanced Mechanical Performance, your premier UTV, off-road, truck, and Jeep repair facility. Whether it's a lift kit, an oil change, or a complete makeover of your machine, go see Cody and the gang at AMP and get it right the first time. These guys know what they're doing and are doing what they know. Advanced Mechanical Performance, 3201 Wheeler Avenue in Fort Smith. Call them today at 434-4161.
Precision Overhead Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all of your overhead door needs. Fully licensed and insured with the largest showroom in Northwest Arkansas, located at 1907 Town West Drive in Rogers and 416 North 10th Street in Fort Smith. Give them a call today at 844-PDS-DOOR or online at precisiondoornwa.com. Financing is available. Precision Overhead Door voted Best Garage Door Company of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Precision Overhead Door.
Come get you some. 2728 Townsend Avenue is your off-road and performance center headquarters. They've got everything from lift kits, wheels, LED light bars, UTV parts and accessories, winches and tires. Need general 4x4 repair? No problem. Come get you some has one of the largest 4x4 shops in the States. They do it all, from installing a bug shield to building some of the baddest off-road machines in the country. Call them today at 782-6833. That's 782-MUD. Or check them out online at cgysoffroad.com. Come get you some.
Hello, this is Sebastian County Assessor Zach Johnson here to remind you to assess your personal property by May 31st to avoid late penalty. You can do this in person at one of our 3 locations, over the phone, or online by going to www.countyservice.net. I would also like to remind any current homeowners or individuals buying their homes on contract to contact our office and check on your eligibility for the Homestead Tax Credit. Contact us today to see if you qualify. The Homestead Tax Credit can save you up to $425 off of your tax bill.
This ad sponsored by Sebastian County Assessor and paid for by Amendment 79.
Hey, I'm Hagen Smith.
As an Arkansas pitcher, I know the importance of precision, skill, and keeping cool under pressure. That's why for your home, choosing the right team for heating and air is just as important. You want professionals who bring their best game. When it comes to staying comfortable, I rely on Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric. They'll send pros to take care of your home, too. Sign up now for Pascal's Plan Protection membership before the summer heat for only $8.99 a month. Never pay for a tune-up again when they're included in your membership. Professional people, professional service. Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
Do you need an oil change but don't have time to drop off your car? S&J Express Lube will let you sit in your car while they do the work, and it only takes about 15 minutes with no appointment needed. Prices start at $35.99 for a 20-point inspection service. S&J Express Lube is open Monday through Friday 9 till 6 and Saturdays 8 till noon. You'll find them at 14818 Highway 71 South in Jenny Lind. Check them out on Facebook too. S&J Express Lube, your authorized Castrol dealer in Sebastian County. They are waiting on you now.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. Welcome back into Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Studios. Crabtree RV Center in Alma, where we make your dreams come true.
I was going to ask just to play music from musicians and performers who have been informed that they are being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame over the summer. Grimes is not one of them. I think Elon will have to buy her a Hall of Fame if that's going to happen. C-Unit, I'm going to do a quick test here with you and see what kind of halftime homework we've got to assign for the weekend that goes along with Airplane, which is going to be the movie that you watch. Takes you from Naked Gun and Lieutenant Frank Drebin to Leslie Nielsen in Airplane, and I don't remember the doctor's character's name, but it doesn't matter. Just don't call him Shirley. You don't know what that means, but you will after Saturday, okay? Rock and Roll Hall of Fame performers being inducted. Have you heard of Mary J. Blige?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. So we don't have to send that one out to you. You have heard of Cher, correct?
I have.
All right. You remember who she was married to? Like, there are a couple of them here that are actually, I think, in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I don't.
Well, she was married to Greg Allman for like maybe 10 seconds, and Sonny. Well, I don't know if you know much about Sonny. Dave Matthews Band going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which actually that's kind of cool that this happens today because I remember DMB playing at Dickie Stevens Park. I think it was 2008. You know who Dave Matthews Band is, I'm just assuming. Okay. Foreigner. Have you ever heard of Foreigner?
Yes.
Peter Frampton.
Yes, I've heard of him.
Okay, now we already played Cool in the Gang. We played Joanna coming out of, I think, the second break of this last hour. You've heard of Cool in the Gang?
Uh-huh.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, yeah.
Dionne Warwick.
No.
Ooh, that's a pretty good one right there. A Tribe Called Quest.
No.
Now, I'm a huge Tribe Called Quest fan. I think I taught Ty Richardson a little bit about A Tribe Called Quest. If I could mix together a little bit of Dionne Warwick and A Tribe Called Quest. Is there a Tribe track that sampled anything from Dionne Warwick? Anybody out there remember that? Because I can't think of anything off the top of my head. If I could mix those two things together and educate the C-Unit on one of the great rap groups of the 90s along with one of the all-time great R&B singers, that would be a pretty good halftime homework assignment for you. Well, the idea that there's only two of them that you don't know of. You've heard of Jimmy Buffett, right? He's going in too.
Yes. Isn't that 5 o'clock somewhere?
I think he sings on it. I don't think it was his song, but yeah, he sings on that one. That's right. All right, let's get into the McClarty Daniel hotline as this is a Matt Jonesless hour number 2. I'll take all your Arkansas baseball questions. I mean, all of them. I guess I might have to filter through some of them. 877-377-6963. Halftime is right back.
At Southern Tire Mart, we look out for you and your vehicle. Come visit us for America's most trusted brands like Michelin Tires, and top-of-the-line service. You can depend on Southern Tire Mart and Michelin Tires to keep you rolling. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 exit 14 in Fort Smith, for Michelin tires that fit your needs and service that cares for you like family.
Let's see. Leaky faucet Tuesday. Water flooding the yard. Better put that down for the middle of the month when the bills aren't due.
Honey, what are you doing?
Planning our plumbing problems, of course.
You can't plan our plumbing problems, but you should plan our plumber.
What do you mean?
Like all important contacts, I keep Westark Plumbing in my phone. They're always there when we need them, and they don't overcharge since they know we don't plan our plumbing problems. Here, honey, here's their number.
646-5151. Thanks, babe.
Westark Plumbing. We keep you flowing.
Tommy Kraft here for The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building your next fence. The Fence Man recently built new gates for my existing fence. The whole process was easy, quick, and most importantly, affordable. Plus, 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available with The Fence Man. If you need a new fence, gate, or anything that involves a fence, call The Fence Man, 479-782-3936. That's 782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South Zero, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
Arkansas Fuel Injection in Fort Smith has been providing quality work for all new and rebuilt diesel pumps and injectors for over 25 years. They are a certified diesel shop with a team of quality technicians that ensure the highest quality workmanship and warranties all their work. They are open Monday through Friday 8 to 5 and has emergency service available 24 hours a day. For all your diesel pump, fuel injection, and parts need, stop by Arkansas Fuel Injection, 6300 South 29th Street, Fort Smith. Call them today at 1-800-817-7709. Arkansas Fuel Injection.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, we will see sunshine with a few isolated showers and storms. Our high temperatures this afternoon, mid to upper 70s. Isolated showers, a few thunderstorms with us tonight. No overnight low will drop down into the low 50s north, upper 50s south, and then scattered rain and thunder possible Wednesday. I'm Sally Russell with the forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Forest Grain Incorporated, committed to setting the standard of excellence since 1936. KERX Paris, Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Crabtree RV Studios on ESPN 95.3. Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center Studios. Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that the perspective.
Live from the Busch Lights Studio.
Don't ask me if I'm all right. Why can't they dominate? And we not doing it. We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field. Yeah.
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Bill Olson and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. What's my heart, dog? Let's go, man.
I have zero respect for saying no moss at halftime.
That's even one Razorback. It's vintage Matt Jones. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olson and Matt Jones.
Welcome back into halftime. It is hour number 2. It is a beautiful day in Central Arkansas here at the Clinton Library. We're up in the green, well, I'm up in the green room. Matt Jones was in the green room with me until about 5 minutes ago, and now he is he is on a stage. Imagine, if you know Matt Jones, you know that his skin must be crawling a little bit with what's going on. He's obviously not somebody that is afraid of crowds when it comes to performing as far as athletics are concerned, but when the eyes are on him and he's got to speak, it can be a little bit different. So I'm I'm proud of him for doing this and speaking to the Little Rock Rangers at the Little Rock Rotary Club. So he's doing something that he loves. And if you listen to this show, you know that he loves football in all its forms, European, American, worldwide, and gets a chance to talk to him right now about all of that. But it is a gorgeous day. I know the weather this weekend for Arkansas, Florida might end up being a little bit spotty with storms potentially for each day of the weekend. But as far as today goes, the fans that have sold out Dickey-Stephens Park for Arkansas and UAPB are going to be treated to an absolutely perfect day. I mean, not too hot, certainly not cold. Not a drop of rain. As long as it stays the way it is right now, it's going to be one of the nicest nights that we could actually imagine for a baseball game or anything else. So I could take any of your baseball questions as we go throughout the second hour. Alyssa Orange will be with us from Pig Trail Nation in about 10 to 15 minutes. We'll dig in with her on the softball team, on basketball transfers, on basketball commits, football transfers, and anything else under the sun that we can think of. Couple of questions came in just asking about pitcher for Arkansas, and I see Gary wants to know about Dylan Carter and why he's not pitching and why has asked if he's re-injured himself. I don't think it's a matter of an injury or anything. I think he's fine and he's healthy. He was on the travel roster last weekend at South Carolina. He's just one of the, I think, two or three pitchers that did not pitch over the weekend. Cooper Dossett was another one, but I think Carter kind of finds himself in the same position as Dossett, a guy with really good stuff that's just having trouble cracking the depth chart, to use a term from another sport. Dossett's the kind of pitcher that I think in any other year, Carter too would probably have a role by now, and a role that's been carved out by the idea of them pitching well. It's a tough bullpen to crack. So, but I think Dylan will get a chance. I think that there's still something for him to do right now. You got what, 12 SEC games left, 3 non-conference games, and then Hoover. And I just have a feeling, also because Dylan pitched in such tight moments last year, that there's a thought you can trust him in a tight situation, but you already have certain pitchers that are getting those moments. Thinking of Gabe Gackle, Christian Fouch, Will McIntyre, Cody Frank, Stone Hewlett. Obviously, Stone just kind of facing the lefties, but I think Carter will get a chance. He's not hurt. I think that's the going concern for somebody that's not pitching, and that he's mostly pitched well when he's gotten the chance. And I think the last time I saw Carter, he really did look good, but I think he'll have a chance to get back out there soon. A couple of callers on hold, so let's take the phone calls. See if you got something to ask here about baseball, anything else. I talk whenever you want. Charlie, what's going on, Charlie? Good to hear from you today. Just me, no Matt.
Oh, man, just you? No, we can talk all day, Phil. Hey, we got it. We can figure it out. I'll throw a baseball thing at you. I want to ask you something. Now, Sprague-Lott, he was not hurt over the weekend, was he?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a back issue with him that I don't understand where it's located or anything, but it's a thing that, from what DVH said, it affects him swinging, not running the bases and not fielding, because he got in and he played third base as a defensive replacement in the 9th inning Friday and then the second game on Saturday, and he looked fine. I don't think he had a play come his way, but he looked fine when he was warming up. So it's something where it affects him swinging.
Yeah, I could imagine with the back it could. Hopefully that can get better, because I was thinking about the situation, and I know he took Lovich out and put Jones in, and no offense to Jason Jones, I'm not trying to knock the kid, but he just didn't take advantage of that righty-lefty matchup when he came in Game 2. Oh man, he was frustrating me. I was hitting everything I could hit. I was more frustrated because we just kept missing out on opportunities. Look, we won the series. I'm proud of the guys, the way they bounced back in Game 3 and actually hit better with runners in scoring position. And I'm not mad at the team or anything. I do want to touch on Kendall Diggs too. Like, yeah, he can sit here and he's probably not 100%. I wouldn't think is he still. And do you think how long do you think it's going to take him? You know, because it's that left shoulder, right? And
you know, from what it sounds like, they really want him to. I guess I'd be surprised if Diggs is in the lineup today, just because he didn't play midweek last week. Took some anti-inflammatories. The shoulder I think the shoulder responded better this last weekend. He looked fine in the outfield, swung the bat better. You know, it might have been a matter of pitch selection for Diggs, and I think he's gotten a little bit big in some cases, and I think the shoulder might have something to do with that. But he's missed some pitches that he wouldn't have missed last year when he was fully healthy. So I don't know if I'd say he's at 100%, but I don't think he's at a place where the coaches feel like he can't play. And I mean, he hit a couple of doubles in the last game against Carolina, and he did take some good swings. So I think this next weekend, I think he'll be in there against Florida, and hopefully there's a bit of an improvement for him as far as that's concerned. Brent and Cersei next up on the McClarty Daniel hotline. Hey, Brent, always good to hear from you. What's up?
Hey, Phil, what's up with you? What is up with you, my man? You're having to do solo today for an hour.
Yeah, we got. Well, it's actually pretty rare for all the time. We've done this show now for over 5.5 years. I could probably count the hours that I've done solo on one hand. So this is rare. You're right. That's why I like when folks like you call up. Thank you.
Hey, I wanted to ask a question about some of our Razorbacks in minor league baseball, if you could help me.
Well, I don't. As far as like statistics or how guys are doing or anything like that. I mean, what I can find out is basically on Baseball Reference as well. But what would you like to know?
I was just wanting to know. Remember our catcher Grant Cook? Was that his first name, Grant?
Yeah, Grant Cook. That's right.
Is he still in the Pirates organization?
I believe so. I saw Grant in February before the season started, when some of the guys had some of the former players that were there at Ball and Walker working out. You know, they can take advantage of the Pro Hogs locker room and basically get to use all the same facilities. Grant was there. In fact, he was catching. I can't remember who it was that I saw that was throwing live BP to hitters. Oh, that's right. It was like I saw Zach Jackson pitch to Heston Kjerstad with Grant Cook catching. And speaking of Kjerstad, did you hear, Brent? Kjerstad apparently is getting called up to Baltimore today. So he's already made a debut last year, but they got an injury in the outfield, and Kjerstad has been just crushed. He's been one of the most productive hitters in all of AAA. So, yeah, Cook was the catcher, Zach Jackson was the pitcher, and Kjerstad was the hitter. I don't remember what the outcome of the at-bat, though, was.
It's about time that Kjerstad got called up. My goodness, he's been tearing the cover off the ball in AAA this year so far.
Yeah, he has been. It's just they've got to have, they don't want him to they call him up. They had nobody to sit. So if they call him up, he was just going to sit, which you might as well be a AAA if that's the case. And they also called up, did you see about Jackson Holiday, he was the first round pick, what was that, 2 years ago from Stillwater, Oklahoma, and he was tearing up AAA. They called Holiday up. I think he's just turned 20 years old, and he's 1 for 30. He is 1 for 30 in Baltimore. He was dominant in the minor leagues. I mean, that tells you how difficult that jump is from AAA to the bigs.
That's scary, 1 for 30. I'm just telling you.
Well, at least he's not Jose Abreu, who's something like 4 for 56. That's a guy that was on a track for the Hall of Fame. And ever since he's been in Houston, he's been on a track for being released. It's good to hear from Brent today. Always appreciate that. We can take more calls and texts as we go later on in the show on the McClarty Daniel hotline. But in just a moment, we're calling up Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation, and that's next on Halftime.
The cow era is here. Championship Under Construction is brought to you by Limbird Real Estate Group, serving all of Northwest Arkansas, Missouri, and the River Valley. For all your real estate needs, go to LimbirdTeam.com. Limbird Real Estate Group, serving all of Northwest Arkansas, Missouri, and the River Valley. For all your real estate needs, go to LimbirdTeam.com. Maverick Male Medical, your wellness and aesthetic center for men in Northwest Arkansas. Look better, live better, love better. Visit MaverickMaleMedical.com.
I love baseball season. It's the best time of the year. Every Friday, we get to talk shop with one of my favorite former pitchers, James Teague.
12:15 on Friday is my favorite time of the week. I love joining you guys on halftime to talk about the baseball team and Teague Law Firm. You know what we always say, if we can't help you, we'll talk baseball.
Don't miss James Teague with the Teague Law Firm every Friday right here at 12:15 on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
The 1-2. He struck him out swinging.
Drive a compact SUV that has more style, power, and technology with the 2023 Buick Envision at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Right now, get 1.9% financing for 60 months on remaining 2023 Buick Envisions. Or choose up to $3,500 in factory discounts. The Buick Envision, it's all about you and designed to inspire. Experience the new Buick at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Pay attention. This happens fast. You need money. You get a job. Turns out that job doesn't pay near enough for the nonsense it puts you through every day. You want to move fast, but the clock moves slow. You're smart though. You know machines. You want to work at a place as fast as you. You call Medley Equipment Company. They need a technician, and they'll teach you everything you need to know to be the best, with pay raises all along. Because Medley keeps you moving.
I'm Branch Manager Dennis Mabry. Visit medleycompany.com or see us at 4001 Harper Avenue, Fort Smith, Arkansas.
Get your fishing gear ready for the 34th Annual Judge Greg Ray Memorial Tri-Lakes Big Bass Festival, sponsored by the Sevier County Chamber of Commerce. Saturday, May 25th, Memorial Day weekend. Get your fish on at either Dirks, DeQueen, or Gillum Lakes. With over $30,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs. And there'll be a special $10,000 reel the weight prize on each lake if your winning numbers match up. Go online, SevierCountyChamberOfCommerce.org for an entry form. This ad paid for with state and regional funds.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard, until the other team scores. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2023 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
At Shelter Insurance, we believe insurance should adjust to fit your needs. We work to design an insurance plan that's particular to you. Insurance that fits just right. And Shelter Insurance ranked #1 in customer satisfaction among auto insurers in the Central Region 5 out of the last 6 years by J.D. Power. Satisfied customers and a plan for you. Ready to check us out? For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
See Agent Jeff Clark in Fort Smith or Agent Brad Howe in Van Buren.
It's spring cleaning sale time at Chelco Outdoors. Savings from 50 to 75% off on select clothing, footwear, hunting and fishing equipment, casual clothing, hunting clothing, work clothing for men, women, and children, work boots, safety shoes, western boots, all 50 to 75% off. Rods, reels, baits, hunting equipment, all 50 to 75% off. Select group of handguns, rifles, and shotguns in the firearms department at cost or below. Don't miss the big spring cleaning sale at Chelco Outdoors in Fort Smith.
Hey, I'm Hagen Smith. As an Arkansas pitcher, I know the importance of precision, skill, and keeping cool under pressure. That's why for your home, choosing the right team for heating and air is just as important. You want professionals who bring their best game. When it comes to staying comfortable, I rely on Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric. They'll send pros to take care of your home, too. Sign up now for Pascal's Plan Protection membership before the summer heat for only $8.99 a month. Never pay for a tune-up again when they're included in your membership. Professional people, professional service. Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Well, I knocked to a window, leave her a note. Will you call me?
at the back of the grove. All the trees were in bloom. That sweet smell in the air. We were trembling together. We were young, we were scared, yeah. True love, goodbye. I can feel it, yeah. Blossom, there.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel Hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Oh, we're efforting getting Alyssa Orange with us here on Halftime, so when we get Alyssa, we'll get her on the horn. Otherwise, McClarty Daniel Hotline can be open, whether it's Alyssa or not, 877-377-6963. Saw the video of Jamal Murray's buzzer beater as the Nuggets beat the Lakers 101-99. And we did a text earlier in reminding about a famous line. Scott had sent this line in when Magic was a rookie. It's a famous story. I think it was the first game of the year, one of the first games of the regular season. Kareem hit a game-winning shot, and Magic ran and mobbed him. And I remember seeing the video of it. He's like, it's almost like Magic is jumping onto Kareem, and almost like he was going to wrap his legs around him, wrap his arms around his neck, and give him a big old hug like he's a kid. Which to Kareem at that point, Magic was a kid. And he's told by Kareem, knock it off. There's still 80 games to play, and that's kind of the same idea from the movie Major League of knock it off. You got 161 of these to go. As nervous as Veghead was, but it's different when you get into the playoffs. It really is. If the NBA is all about getting past the rigor of the regular season so that you can get to the playoffs, well, any kind of buzzer beater and any kind of celebration, I think, even though it's the second game, I think is fair game. If it's a win in the last month, when you're fighting to get into a position for a playoff spot, or I could still even see celebrating like that. But anything that happens in the playoffs, I mean, go ahead, dogpile, celebrate, just don't hurt anybody. In the regular season, it feels a little bit odd. Even some of the celebrations for college baseball, there is a difference between chasing somebody into the outfield after a game-winning hit or a game-winning sacrifice fly, or as we saw in Alabama, a guy just hitting a number back to the mound and a run scoring to win a game because of an error. But dogpiling and chasing somebody into an outfield are two different things. The dogpile is always supposed to be reserved for the last win of a super or to win the College World Series. That's pretty much what the dog pile is set for. This looked like a dog pile that the Nuggets had going on in the corner right where Murray's shot just got over the outstretched hand of Anthony Davis. So it's a pretty cool celebration. But yep, you still got to win 2 more games in order to win the series, and you end up probably with a more subdued celebration if you win the series 4-0 and the last game is an 8-point game. Let's take a phone call from Lane in Cave City on the McClarty Daniel Hotline. Hey, Lane, what's going on? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good, Mr. Phil. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Well, Mr. Phil, I've kind of got 2 questions. The first question is, do you think coming down the stretch here in the baseball season that we might see Coach Van Horn put somebody in place of either Molina or Tiger? Since it seems like over the last few weeks they kind of struggled a little bit. Brady seemed like he got back on track last week, but Molina kind of struggled definitely. So do you think you might see Coach Van Horn maybe try try something out there?
Well, I don't think there'll be any change as far as Tiger's concerned. He's had two good starts in a row, and seems to have gotten past whatever issues he had with what might have been commanding a fastball earlier and a breaking pitch later, because he had everything working against South Carolina. But I'll also say about Brady, even in games where he hasn't had great command of one or two pitches, he's still battled, and I've been impressed with Brady this year. I mean, this last game was really, really good against South Carolina. There's no, I don't think there's any motion to take him out of the rotation. With Molina, look, I think he looked really good against Alabama the week before, and this last start against South Carolina to me felt more like just a guy that didn't have command of two pitches that he usually does command much better, which was the fastball that he couldn't locate. It was up and couldn't get his breaking pitch over. But usually he's got two or three pitches that he can command, and even if it's just a fastball and changeup, he can keep batters off one or the other. But it was just the changeup pretty much that I think he felt confident in. So it's just one start. If something happens this week against Florida, and then after that the weekend before, the next weekend against Kentucky, then maybe so. But I'd be surprised if they make any change other than maybe a little bit since Brady pitched on a Saturday, and originally he was the second day starter. Maybe they move him back to the second game role. But I guess we find that out in a couple of days when they do announce the starting rotations. The crazy thing is, like, so you look at some of the things that Dave Van Horn has done to the starting lineup as far as where you got guys batting, where they're positioned. You literally have Peyton Holt hitting everywhere in the batting order. Leadoff, second, fifth, sixth. I mean, I don't think he'd hit cleanup because there have been a few other guys that had hit cleanup before. But honestly, I mean, I feel like he's a Swiss Army knife both in terms of the position he plays and where he hits in the lineup. And he's playing right field, he's playing left field, he's playing center field, he's playing third base. We've seen him play second base. You've had 4 or 5 different players start in the outfield in the last week. So there's all these changes that are happening in terms of the position players and the hitters, in terms of who is starting in basically 3 outfield spots, and then at third base because of this issue that Sprague Lott might have with his back where he can't swing. And even a catcher, there's been a tiny little bit of a shakeup. I mean, Hudson White is catching twice a weekend, but instead of Helfrich catching this last weekend, it was Parker Rowland. And Rowland had the big hit. He had the first RBI hit on Saturday in that 9-6 win. So you get different guys starting at DH in a bunch of games too. So there's all this, and I don't want to call it instability because I say instability for teams that are losing games. It's just Dave's moving the pieces around. There's no reason to view the pitching staff the same way because that's the thing that makes it all work. You can't have these kinds of changes in your lineup on a routine basis the way that they have if you don't have a pitching staff that you feel shorthanded with, that you feel you know what you can get out of them. And just one bad start for Molina, I don't think means that they'd think about pulling him. Now, 2 starts in a row, if he can't command a fastball, there's just one pitch that he feels he can command. 3 starts in a row, now you start talking maybe about a change because the kid who's pitching today, Ben Bybee, has great stuff, and he has shown the ability to be able to go out and get 5-6 innings. I know only lasted 1 1/3 last week against Texas Tech, but I felt like that start was it had a little bit of flukiness to it, just in the terms of how the base hits were collected in a row, but they had to get him out because he allowed 5 hits in a row. It's just 4 or all 5 of them felt like they were just perfectly placed or a little bit fluky. But that's a guy that you can look potentially to start a game if Molina has 1 or 2 more starts like he just had this past weekend. Because Dave's even talked about that before the season started, that Molina was a guy that had some issues throwing strikes even in the fall and in the lead up to the season. And that's the one thing that's going to get you pulled. It really will. it's not a matter that he can't compete or doesn't want to compete. I just think sometimes you end up losing command of a pitch that you feel pretty confident in. But we'll see what happens this weekend against the Gators, Lane, and I appreciate the phone call. The other thing too is, I mean, you want Molina in there because you like to have the left-hander in there, but you already have a lefty in Hagen Smith. It's just you realize how tough Arkansas is against lefties. They're tough to hit no matter what because of how solid this pitching staff is. But left-handers have even less success. That's a hallmark of this team, is they can kind of neutralize left-handed hitters quite a bit. All right, let's break. Alyssa's with us, and we've got to hit the break, and then we'll talk with the one and only Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation in just a moment. So stay with us. It's halftime.
This is halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
Join us in celebrating Burton Pools and Spa.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McCarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McCarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McCarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacale.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sacale, paper mouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is the #1 source for all your sports betting this season and every season. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends all at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. The fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite leagues and events. Go to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure you use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. Bet online, where the game starts.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor Abe from Woodland. Read about it.
Customer Appreciation Day.
Stop by, grab a dog or a burger, talk Razorback sports, check out Number One's new showroom, and let's have a good time. That's this Friday, April 26th, halftime live at Lumber One, 3335 Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Standing in the rain with his head hung low. Couldn't get a ticket. It was a sold-out show. Heard the roar of the crowd. He got back to the scene. Stand to the wall.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel Hotline, 877-377-6963. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
And it's one of the foreigner songs that we can play since it's not slow rock and roll made for slow dancing. We head to the McClarty Daniel Hotline, and Alyssa Orange is there from Pig Trail Nation. Appreciate you calling in here, Alyssa. How you doing?
Yeah, hey guys, good to be with you. Sorry, I didn't hear my phone ring. That was my bad.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. I always have mine on silent too. If my phone ever makes a noise, there's something wrong. I'm one of those people that I don't do notifications. I don't do phone noises at all.
Yeah, and it's because I have a fear of it ringing when we're on air, so I always turn it off, and then it bites me in the butt for situations like this.
It's so funny. There are other radio shows in the state, not on our station, but you can hear the host's texts. Bing, bing, hang up and listen. You know what I mean? That one.
That would drive me nuts.
Yeah, it really is. Hey, I get my home game. Today.
Congratulations.
Here in Central Arkansas, yeah. But it's televised too. That means the everybody. There's no reason to complain now, right? Now that would be the one reason to complain. Now there's no reason to.
Man, I was on the phone with some of the KRK guys who work in Little Rock for us as a part of our sister station, and I was like, "Welcome to the 21st century. The game's on TV."
That's right. Hey, we should see a brother versus brother matchup. Which is cool. Mm-hmm. Jason Jones's brother, Jordan, is going to be the starting pitcher for UAPB. And Jason, he started both games last week against Texas Tech. I'd assume he would start this game. I'm sure Dave would probably want to get him in there against his brothers. So I don't know if I've seen brothers pitching against brothers before. The Nola brothers did in the postseason a couple of years ago. So this will be pretty cool.
Yeah, not pitching against each other. You know, we got the pleasure of watching Ross Lovich play against his brother at Missouri earlier in the year.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a couple times when Ross would get to first base, and I'm like, I wonder what he's saying to his brother. But definitely not on the pitching mound where you might know a little bit of your brother's tendencies.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Haven't faced him since they were teenagers, but I'm sure they know each other's thought process really, really well.
I wonder if Mom's got one of those split jerseys like Mama Kelsey does. You think she's got one of those?
She better. It'd probably be the only UAPB Arkansas Razorback jersey that has ever been made, though.
Right.
Yeah, that would be a one of one. Just get it autographed by both of her sons, and then it's legit. This offensive breakout in the second game against South Carolina on Saturday. Does it make you a believer in the Razorback lineup, or do you see it as a one-off thing?
No, I was never a non-believer in the lineup because I just understand that baseball is baseball, and there are days where you're going to be struggling, and I think that they've kind of just, had a little bit of a lull offensively, but a lot of people on social media were freaking out about the offense and the lack of hitting, and, I understand two things. Runners in scoring, leaving runners on base and in scoring position is an issue. Getting into double plays, also an issue. But this is also the same lineup and, same team that were down 7-0 against Texas Tech and was able to come back and win 9-8 earlier in the year. So they have it. They just need to channel it again. And it's one of those things where you can't hit the panic button because there are just going to be lulls in baseball. And as long as they are hitting at the end of the year when it matters the most, things are going to be okay. So you kind of got to back off the ledge a little bit and kind of understand what's going on. We've hit that halfway mark in the season, and a little fatigue is going to show up, a little bit of trying to just figure things out, and you now have to just get back on that train and get that momentum going again, and things are going to be just fine.
Just because we won't have you until next week, and we're talking Arkansas baseball, what I'm really excited. I love the game today. This weekend series against Florida, I think will be really fun. Now, it's not as marquee as it was when the season began, just because Florida's fallen off, and I don't really understand how that's happened. I know you're enjoying that, but I mean, Jack Caglione is having the kind of season that stands out, even in a league where Charlie Condon is just going nuts, and Hagan has had this great year. But a Hagan Smith versus Jack Caglione at bat, I mean, give me 2 or 3 of those, please.
Oh yeah, no, it's going to be fun, and I'm excited to kind of see again. Arkansas handling itself, trying to continue that win streak at home. But this is a Florida team. Obviously my coworker Courtney is a Florida grad, so we like to give her a lot of heck sometimes, but it's like you always look at Florida this year, and if they lose their midweek game, they're going to win their weekend series. If they win their weekend game or their midweek game, they're going to lose their weekend series. Like, that's the trend that they've been on. So I think that they play Jacksonville State today, and so if they win, that's a good sign for Arkansas. But it is very strange because this Florida team is just not what it has been historically. But they still find ways, and they can beat you, so you have to take them seriously.
Well, you mentioned Jacksonville State. I saw that there is a new Arkansas linebacker coming from Jackson State, Larry Worth, who was a starter at Jacksonville State and a guy that has had probably more snaps at the position than just about anybody else that's on the team. He just hasn't had those snaps at Arkansas. But it also comes with the news that Snacks Johnson is going into the transfer portal, but that also goes along with the idea that he lost his starting spot and just wasn't going to back up.
Yeah, and then that's something that is the world that we live in right now. I hate it because I feel like, I mean, we kind of grew up feeling that you fight for your spot, and like our parents were not going to let us just like quit that easily, and so you hate it from that perspective because you're like, man, like you could still have that job, you just got to come back in the fall and earn it back. But that is what it is. But I think linebacker was the one spot, even going into spring camp, is what they needed more depth at, more experience at, because of what they lost in the preseason with all the guys who transferred out. So I think that regardless of what happened in the spring, they were going to go find them a linebacker, and they did. You hate to see Snacks go because I think he was just kind of a fun personality, as well as a guy who obviously started every game for Arkansas last year. But it's the world that we live in, and you kind of just, I mean, guys are gonna fall. I mean, I think we're so used to it, but do you remember a couple of years ago when we went through a whole entire spring and he played in the spring ball, and then it was like Michael Woods is transferring, and everyone was like, what? And like, you couldn't really wrap your head around that, and so you just are pretty conditioned these days to take the punches and roll with them.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly the way to look at it. I think from a fan's perspective, because you develop a relation. The people loved Snacks on Twitter and on social media.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's so they feel that they get a sense of who that person is based on that, or just entertained by him, and might interact with him and all of that. And then so I'm around football a little bit, but once Sailor Poffenbarger went into the transfer portal, I thought to myself, well, here's somebody from Maryland. Here's somebody who's really close to her family. And then the news coming out yesterday, transferring back to Maryland, and it all made sense. It made a lot more sense than say, like Talia Scott transferring to Auburn, which felt a heck of a lot more about the money. And I'm sure Sailor's getting something at Maryland, but that seemed to make more sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I saw that, that's exactly what I thought too. And you look at Sailor and just feeling like she wanted to be closer to home, and you can understand that. And I'm pretty sure, though, her brother might be the starting QB at Miami, so maybe one of them had to come closer to home. But, people enter the transfer portal for all different kinds of reasons, and now that you've added NIL to it, you can go wherever you want to without having to sit out a season. I mean, the power is in the athletes these days, and you just kind of have to, I mean, like it, love it, hate it, have opinions about it. We all do. But at the same time, there's nothing we can do about it right now.
You know, we've been so breathless about all of the possible players that will come to play for John Calipari. You know, there's been just a little bit of news pertaining to the women's basketball team. We know about Izzy Higginbottom transferring in, but that's been it. You know, the news has more been about the players that have gone into the portal and who also committed to other programs, even in the SEC, like Talia with Auburn, Jersey Wolfenbarger at LSU. Pauline Love, assistant coach, has taken the same position at Alabama. So I'm still waiting for, you know, we're getting a little trickle about Big Z and now Karter Knox and, of course, Coach Payne for the women's team. I mean, you're expecting you got the same, almost the same amount you got to replace.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and then, you know, Haley Van Lith going into the transfer portal, and, you know, like, well, where's she going to go? And she ends up at TCU. So, you know, there has been some high-profile women's basketball news, and so I'm really interested to see, we were talking about that yesterday, like, what is Neighbors and that staff going to do? Because he understands he has to hit the transfer portal really hard to be able to bring some players in. And you know, they're being selective and they're kind of being patient, and I think that's exactly what Cal is doing, obviously on a different scale because he had no one to work with. But you had Karter Knox come in and visit yesterday, and, you know, there was a report that Jane Quaintance is also going to make a trip to Arkansas as well. And we were able to talk to Josh Pastner, who was the former coach at Georgia Tech at Memphis, coached with Cal, as well as the Stetson head coach, Donnie Jones, about just rebuilding a roster. And they were just like, look, if there's anyone who can do it, Cal can, but he's going to be meticulous about it. He is going to be systematic about it. He is not Eric Musselman, who is going to let you know about every 180 players and their moms that he's talked to. He is going to be very selective, and it's different. And so Arkansas fans kind of have to respect both approaches and understand that just because you don't hear anything does not mean things aren't happening.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that is an open difference in the two coaches. Like, Cal's active on social media, but it was so funny about, he didn't even know what a Twitter handle is or what his Twitter handle was or all of that. It just, I mean, but whoever it is that runs his account knows what he's doing. It just also felt like, and I don't know if this was the case or not, but, you know, I felt like Muss had a lot of control over his Twitter, and it was very, very, very active.
Active when it wanted to be. Active when it wanted to be. You can go back and look to when, you know, right before he left, he didn't tweet very much. You know, so you also have to think about it too, like what's going and how are things going. And again, Cal knows what he's doing. He is where he needs to be. He doesn't have to show you publicly. And even Courtney asked him in the press conference after his introduction, welcome ceremony, like, you know, what are your plans? And he goes, I can't tell you that because then I'd have to tell everybody that. So this is exactly what we're seeing in terms of him just playing it a little bit closer to the vest.
Hey, what'd you think of Heston Kjerstad? I don't think it's official, but it's pretty much out there that Heston's going to be called up to the Orioles, which means that now, hey, you know, the only other team I think in the big leagues where there's two Razorbacks currently on the active roster are the White Sox. And they're the worst team in baseball with Benintendi and Dominic Fletcher. And, I mean, that's just – it's sad to see the photos from Progressive Rate Field. The Orioles are good. I mean, they're really good. James Buchanan has had a great start to the season as the backup to Adley Rutschman. And now you got Kjerstad there, and it's just, I think, more reasons for me to be an Orioles fan.
Well, yeah. Well, again, I think I've told you guys this. My grandfather was a scout for the Orioles, so I'll quickly jump back up on that bandwagon. But it's exciting and good for him too, because I know that he's worked hard, and, you know, he had that health thing for a while there, and he didn't get and move up as quickly as people thought he would, being, you know, the number 2 pick overall. So I'm happy for him, and I know that he still has a lot of close ties here. I know he was here working out over the summer, because I saw some stuff from some of the pro guys over the summer. So I'm just happy for him. But, man, it also makes you be like, we got robbed. We got robbed of that 2020 season, watching him as his junior season unfolded.
Yeah, but you remember when he showed up just ready to hit. I mean, so did Casey Martin, but there was something about Heston and just the way he approached even as a freshman, as a hitter, you could tell immediately. And look, the two freshman position players on this year's team, I think, have really bright futures that are getting a lot of time. I think Nolan Souza is a potential first-round pick. I love the athleticism and the strength that Ryder Helfrich shows, but they've also had their ups and their downs, and I know Kerstad did too, but he was never taken out of the starting lineup, and man, how much fun was it to watch him for those 2+ years?
Man, it was so fun. It was so fun. Brought a lot of memories, especially that 2018 year and the Texas game that we'll all remember fondly, where he pushed the first baseman at first base for Texas and shrugged his shoulders like, what? I was just trying to get to the base. I mean, if that's not your favorite Heston Kerstad memory, I don't know what is.
Trying to think if there's another one. Oh yeah, there was one where he dropped a routine fly ball in left field, and then I think it might have been, was it even the same game? Was it the same game? Made a home run saving catch against the fence. It's just like,
yeah,
there was something about him, even just the way that he would smile. It's I loved Heston from the start.
He was special. Everybody in Amarillo knew it when he came to Arkansas, knew it when he got drafted. So you love to see that kid have success. I'm happy for him.
Dodgers playing well. I know Ohtani.
No, they're not.
What's going on there?
No.
I haven't paid attention. Tell me.
They were in a losing streak. They played Washington and I think lost 2 of 3, and then played the Mets and lost, and they finally won last night for the first time in a week and a half.
13-11 still. Why am I even looking at the standings? Who cares about the standings? It's not even a month into the
It's so
season.
early.
Give me a break. Alyssa, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
It's always good. Thanks for
Bill.
calling in.
Enjoy your home game.
Yeah, thank you. That's right. Instead of 2.5 hours away from home, it's like 10 minutes away from home. That's right. Alyssa Orange with us every Tuesday here on Halftime. I will have Bill King in about 30 minutes. I went and took a look over there where Matt Jones is sitting as the moderator for this Little Rock Rangers luncheon with the Little Rock Rotary Club. He actually, there are people wearing suits and ties and business attire, and ladies wearing business attire too, dresses that are over there. And Matt, he looks like he's ready to host a radio show, but he also looks like he is as comfortable as anything. He's sitting there, he's got his microphone, he's nodding his head. He's saying something, nodding his head. It's like he actually looks like he's enjoying himself. So I don't know how good of an actor he is, but he's actually showing how good of an actor he is right now. Stay with us. Halftime wraps up hour number 2 in just a moment.
This is Halftime.
With everyday low prices on top brands, locally owned Jaeger's Ace Hardware is committed to offering real service with real savings. Get these red-hot buys at any of our 4 locations. Save $90 on the DeWalt 20-volt max trimmer and blower kit. Only $199 with your Ace Rewards card. Triazicide 10-pound granules, ready to spray or concentrate is $7.99 with Ace Rewards. And buy batteries and chargers and get the tool free on select DeWalt, Milwaukee, and Craftsman power tools. Find us online at JaegersHardware.com.
We love our backyard. This year, we added an outdoor kitchen. We couldn't wait to show it off, but what happened? Mosquitoes. Basically, we did all this work for them. Instead of providing food and entertaining our guests, we became the food. We wasted all that time and money on a yard we couldn't even enjoy. Then, we called Mosquito Joe. After just the first treatment, Mosquito Joe gave us our yard back. Now, we're the favorite neighborhood hangout. Mosquito Joe makes outside fun again. Visit arkansas.mosquitojoe.com.
Are you an angler having trouble finding all the bait, tackle, and more for your fishing needs? Make Awake Bait and Tackle, now located in Fort Smith next to Witts Marine on North 11th Street, is your place. Make Awake Bait and Tackle also has the largest selection of plastics in the River Valley. Reactor Innovation, Bobby Garland, Zoom, Mega Bass, and more. Check out the Daiwa Rod and Reels. Make Awake Bait and Tackle, 803 North 11th Street at Fort Smith, 479-926-9320. Also get your rod and reels repaired. Come see us next to Witts Marine at Make Awake Bait and Tackle.
Hey, it's Ty Richardson for Papa's Pub and Pizzeria. I want to talk about their pizza today. The Goob Special with extra pepperoni and rib rub on top. The Parm Special with double mushroom and jalapenos. Don't forget about the bacon cheeseburger and everyone's favorite, the old trash can. Swing on by Papa's Pub and Pizzeria at 508 Garrison Avenue in downtown Fort Smith, or give them a call at 479-783-9941. Papa's Pub and Pizzeria, the best darn pizza in Fort Smith, perhaps the world.
Attention homeowners, storms are firing up quickly and widespread damage means thousands are reaching out for the right roofing company. Don't wait. Get on the schedule with Shamrock Roofing and Construction now for quality and peace of mind. One call does it all. Shamrock Roofing and Construction, call 479-319-5100. Need new roof? Shamrock Roofing and Construction can have you covered right now for as low as $139.99 with approved credit. For quality and peace of mind, one call does it all. Shamrock Roofing and Construction, call 479-319-5100.
Got a pest? Call West. If you have pest or termite problems in your home, call West today and learn how their 50 years combined experience can help solve your problems with competitive pricing and quality services, all designed with your pets and children in mind. Call today and schedule your free estimate. They even offer Saturday services and long life attic pest control. Call 782-7291. West Termite and Pest Control, protecting your home health and peace of mind.
Can you explain the infield fly rule? Neither can I, but I can help you navigate a variety of legal issues, from divorce to personal injury to estate planning. I'm Jackie Mock with Mock Legal Solutions, a new law firm offering affordable flat fees with payment plans available. You get an ace at the price of a minor leaguer. Now that sounds like a grand slam to me. Call Mock Legal Solutions for your free consultation, 479-769-1505. Real advice, reasonable price.
Your home is your biggest asset. So when you decide to add a sunroom, a patio cover, a new driveway, or new windows, you need to call a company you can trust. Sawyers has been part of your community for over 30 years. They're insured, licensed, and have 100% financing for all of their products. Take all the worry out of your next project. Call Sawyers and let them handle it from permitting to completion. Sawyers, serving the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas with a full showroom located in Fort Smith or online at sawyers-sunrooms.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
We on a war tour with my man going into
People give you ear, so I be sublime. It's enjoyable to know you in the concubines. Take off your coats, ladies act like gems. Sit down, Indian styles, we recite these hymns. See, lyrically, I'm Mario Andretti on the Momo. Ludicrously speedy or infectious with the slow-mo. Heard me in the 80s, JV's on the promo. Am I never in the quest to get the paper on the caper? But now, let me take it to the Queen side. Taking it to Brooklyn side.
Welcome back into Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Studios. Crabtree RV Center in Alma, where we make your dreams come true.
I think it's got to be time to change the name of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because if we're letting look, I love A Tribe Called Quest. I love Dave Matthews Band. They're not rock groups. So it's amazing. I mean, there is no sports Hall of Fame, right? We have all of our individual sports Hall of Fames. You get basketball in Springfield, hockey I think is in Canada, baseball Cooperstown, football is in Canton, college football is in Atlanta, college baseball I think is trying to build something in Kansas City. That's where college basketball's Hall of Fame is. There's an American Soccer Hall of Fame. We don't have one all-encompassing sports Hall of Fame. I guess that could be whatever you find on Wikipedia and write about yourself, but that's kind of what they're doing at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, is that it's just turned into a music Hall of Fame. So sooner or later we'll get I'm sure they'll get Johann Sebastian Bach, Beethoven get in there too, right? Because if we're putting it, and again, I love Tribe Called Quest. You just played a Award Tour. I mean, I know the whole thing. I told you, I hope you got the clean version, because at that very moment there was one coming out. They might have got us fired, but you very smart C-Unit. You know how to type in the words radio edit. But from that Midnight Marauders album, look, this is a classic. This is a classic rap album that is the farthest thing from rock and roll that you could possibly find. And look, I mean, so I get Chris says Dave Matthews Band is a rock band or the jam band. I look at rock and roll more like I view, Ozzy Osbourne. Is that rock and roll? It's as heavy as it gets, but that's a form of it, yes. I think we got. I think whomever it is, who owns the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Can we get a name change? Just the Music Hall of Fame, because that's what we're doing here. Dionne Warwick is not a rock and roll musician. I'm not saying she doesn't belong in there. Kool and the Gang. Kool and the Gang actually was more of a rock and roll group. I think more so than, even in some cases, than Dave Matthews Band. Cher, she did some rock, not all of it. Mary J. Blige is not rock and roll. But they all belong in a Hall of Fame of music. It's just the Music Hall of Fame doesn't sound as cool as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And get the thing out of Cleveland, for crying out. No, I guess it's okay that it's in Cleveland. As a native Pittsburgher, I try to make jokes about Cleveland. It's actually a pretty cool place. Hour number 3 of halftime approaches in just a moment. Calls and texts coming in on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. And we'll see if Matt Jones is still breathing.
Summertime in Arkansas means pond and creek fishing, and nothing catches bass and bluegill in a pond like a Rebel crickhopper. You can twitch it, pop it, walk it, and swim it. It's the ultralight fishing lure that looks and acts like a real grasshopper. The crickhopper works great in tandem with light spinning rods and reels with 4 or 6 pound fishing line. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle shops everywhere. The Rebel crickhopper.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Are you tired of the overcrowded fitness centers? Would you like a fitness option where you can actually work out? Then let's hang out. The Hangout is Sportsman's newest fitness facility. It has an 8,000 square foot gym, indoor tennis, pickleball, and basketball with more sports coming soon. The Hangout offers group and individual training in the gym and boasts 3 active tennis pros to help you grow your game. Stop in today at 5400 Gary Street or thehangoutfs.com for more information. Be a part of something different. Fitness, sports, and more. Let's hang out.
We're back with the action. Coke Zero Sugar might be the best Coke ever.
That's right, Jim. With an irresistible taste and zero sugar, Coke Zero Sugar is a must-try for any sports fan. So make sure you... Wait, Jim, I didn't mean try it right now. We're still on the air.
Best Coke ever? Take a taste, Jen.
Really?
No, not right now, Jen. We got a game to call.
Brothers Roofing and Restoration, a licensed and insured local roofing contractor in Arkansas. Since his playing days for the Hogs, Brother Alexander has been on rooftops, many years as an adjuster, and in the past decade as a roofing contractor. He knows how to help you through the insurance process while replacing your roof using only the industry's best materials. And being a lifelong Arkansan, he'll be here to stand behind his workmanship and warranty. Call 479-353-3877 to arrange a time for Brother and his team to inspect your roof.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, we will see sunshine with a few isolated showers or storms. Our high temperatures this afternoon, mid to upper 70s. Isolated showers, a few thunderstorms with us tonight. No overnight low will drop down into the low 50s north, upper 50s south, and then scattered rain and thunder possible Wednesday. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Forest Grain Incorporated, committed to setting the standard of excellence since 1936. KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Crabtree RV Studios on ESPN 95.3. Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center Studios. Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that the perspective.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
Don't ask me if I'm all right. What can't they dominate? And we not doing it. We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field. Yeah.
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Bill Olson and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. Come on, dog. Let's go, man.
I have zero respect for saying no moss at halftime.
Name of one Razorback. And vintage Matt Jones. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Welcome back. Hour number 3, halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Great to be with you here, Phil Elson, on a gorgeous sunny afternoon on the 3rd floor of the Clinton Library, right by downtown Little Rock. Once the show concludes, headed over the river to Dickey Stevens Park to get set up for Arkansas UAPB and the annual trip to Dickey Stevens Park for the Hogs baseball team. They have run-ruled UAPB in 4 of the 5 meetings they've had against them. So these games do get a little bit out of hand every once in a while. And we'll see how that goes. UAPB is looking at their schedule here. By the way, Matt Jones is still talking soccer with those folks downstairs. So he must be in a comfort zone because I would imagine be like, I signed up for 60 minutes. It's 62 minutes now. He's still down there with a smile on his face. UAPB, 13 wins, 26 losses. I think they've got, Edwin Dela Cruz, second leading hitter in the nation with a .444 batting average. And before you send in the texts on the McClarty Daniel hotline, well aware that's coming mostly against SWAC schools, but also like some of these games that UAPB has played, I don't know how I can give the stats, honestly, because they had, what is this, 52 plus, they scored 52 and 45 runs. I'm just doing quick math here on the show, and I'm too stupid to do it without the calculator. They scored 97 runs in a 4-game series against Arkansas Baptist back in February, and I guess these still count against their real statistics. 97 runs in 4 games. What did Arkansas Baptist have? Did they just have 5 fielders? Was that it? That's an average of 24 and a quarter runs per game. They scored 20 and then 32 in a doubleheader against Arkansas Baptist. That's right. That's 52 runs scored in one day by a baseball team that Arkansas plays today. And then they scored 15, and then they scored 30 against them. And then when they played a real Division I baseball team in Illinois State, they got shut down, and they scored 5 runs in 3 games. So, they play Philander Smith. They scored 33 runs in 2 games against Philander Smith. So I don't think these the statistics that I see from UAPB are really worth the money, the paper that they're printed on. So, but I guess you're just expected to give the statistics of the opponent and everybody that comes up to bat because those at-bats really did happen. They just didn't happen against college pitchers that can get anybody out, I guess. That's some of the craziest scores I've ever seen. That is literally some of the craziest scores I've ever seen. A baseball game that finished 32-3. 32-3 and so that's a run rule game. Goodness gracious, that happened in 7 innings. See, unit, this almost like too much to look at with this. UAPB playing Arkansas Baptist on the 23rd of February, and they actually have to come from behind 32-3 win. How do you like that? 3-0 Arkansas Baptist. It was. Yeah, they gave up 3 runs in the first inning and then scored the next 32. A 14-run inning, an 8-run inning, 24 base hits to 2 base hits allowed, and Arkansas Baptist made 5 errors. So,
well, there's good D1 teams that would even be impressive for them, like even if they were playing them. So I don't want to give it too much credence, but like you said, they still had to go up there and hit the ball.
Yeah, the at-bat still happened, so it's not like you can act like they didn't happen. It's just there's a little more. It means a little bit more when these things may be coming against a real Division I team instead of. I don't even know the level that Arkansas Baptist plays at, to be honest, or Philander Smith, but they do have baseball teams, so I guess that's a good thing. There are reports from those who would know that the Razorbacks are going to be getting a visit from Boogie Fland starting tomorrow night. This is one of the big-time commits for Kentucky, the decommitted Boogie Fland out of White Plains, New York. He's a 6'2" guard, 170 pounds. Got 4 stars on the 247 sports site, and he's the next one to visit. So I know you got Karter Knox committed. Jaden Quaintance, I think, is making a visit, and now there's Boogie Fland that is going to make a visit too. It's like Chuck had said we had Chuck Barrett on in hour number 1. And if you miss anything on the show today, the Eastside Liquor Halftime Podcast is going to have it in just a little bit. I think Chuck was right about the idea that it's not that it's that you're building the team slowly. It's that these things, they're happening. Things are already in motion. I mean, you see Cal out at Overtime Elite and recruiting and basically re-recruiting kids that he'd already gotten to commit to him at Kentucky. And he's out and about, and there's just a little bit of things that are just kind of filtering in here or there. And it doesn't all happen at once, and it doesn't all happen in 2 or even 3 weeks or maybe even in a month. It just it takes some time. But you can see a little bit of the flow now starting as you have Zvonimir Ivisic, the first transfer coming in from Kentucky, and now it looks like they've lost another one of their big men. They lose Adu Tiero, who's in the portal too. Tiero, and now they lose Ugana Onyenso, who was supposed to go to the NBA draft, and now it looks like he's in the portal instead. I don't know if these are players that you're going to potentially look at Arkansas, but a lot of folks are looking at Jordan Burks as a future Razorback, and now maybe looks like Jaden Quaintance is looking maybe good, and Boogie Fland looking good too. So all of this is starting to. It feels like it's starting to happen now. It's starting to happen on a slow basis, but this is news when you see that kids that were committed to Cal at Kentucky are visiting Arkansas, and I don't go into the visits too often, but I think with this sort of talent level that we're talking about, it's worth mentioning it, because these were kids that were committed to Cal at Kentucky, and just more evidence that they're committing to a coach instead of the program necessarily. So I saw some of the comments that Karter Knox gave to Richard Davenport, and he's saying all the right things, but he's also saying, he wants to get to the pros, and he's got the example of his brother Kevin that went to the NBA straight from Kentucky, from playing with Cal or playing for Cal. So, I mean, the writing's been on the wall from the very start. It's just kind of starts one little thing at a time, and the visit leads to maybe it leads to the commit, maybe it leads to some other news about it later on this week. Caitlin Clark is going to be signing this deal with Nike. 8 years, $28 million. It's being reported by the Wall Street Journal and The Athletic. So I know that there was all this talk about the deal that she was signing. I didn't realize it hadn't necessarily been signed yet. $3.5 million a year for 8 years does include the signature shoe. $3.5 million. I don't know. I guess I thought that'd be more, but for somebody that's a Seminole player, that's probably more than anybody else in the WNBA is getting. So good for Caitlin Clark for getting this. Now I guess I may have to. I buy my son has the Jordans. He got a Zion that he loves to wear those. I don't know if he'll get the Caitlin Clarks, but my daughter, I mean, she's 14 years old. She's all into shoes. I mean, that's the market. She's not a basketball player necessarily, but she certainly knows who Caitlin Clark is. She was interested in watching the women's Final Four and watching the championship game. So I'd have to ask Sadie, are you interested in getting a pair of Caitlin Clarks? And I think that's really cool. I mean, we've been buying Jordans And look, I'm not into the shoes, to be honest. I'm just wearing a pair of Hokas because I don't get plantar fasciitis when I'm wearing these. But, I bought the Reebok pumps, or I had my parents buy them for me when they came out because of D. Brown and the famous dunk. I got Jordans, when they first came out, but a few years after because that's what everybody did. But now I feel it's pretty cool. I can get one. Maybe my daughter may want a pair of Caitlin Clark's. Maybe that'll get her into watching the WNBA. She seems to like basketball, but I wonder if she'll be like I think a lot of our listeners are, or how Bill King is, who joins us in just a bit. Now, he's not really into college basketball much. When it comes to sports, he's much more into the college thing. Loves his college baseball, loves his college football, and kind of could do without the professional aspects of either of them. All right, Matt Jones is alive. He has made it back. We're going to take a break. Bill King joins us in just a moment. Always, you can't forget, though, about a day like today and the specials over at Joe's Grill and Cantina on a Tuesday. It is Taco Tuesday. Crispy tacos are $1 all day long. That's your choice of beef or chicken tacos. $3 for the 8-inch beef or chicken burrito. $2.95 for pork carnita tacos. Add $1 for the pork belly tacos or the brisket tacos. And online at joesfortsmith.com. Joe's Grill and Cantina, great Tex-Mex, better service, 3400 South 74th, right across from Harps. Matt Jones is back, and we'll give a call to Bill King here on halftime in just a moment.
The Cal era is here. Championship Under Construction is brought to you by Limbird Real Estate Group, serving all of Northwest Arkansas, Missouri, and the River Valley. For all your real estate needs, go to LimbirdTeam.com. Limbird Real Estate Group, serving all of Northwest Arkansas, Missouri, and the River Valley. For all your real estate needs, go to LimbirdTeam.com. Maverick Male Medical, your wellness and aesthetic center for men in Northwest Arkansas. Look better, live better, love better. Visit MaverickMaleMedical.com.
It's like Clark Kent. This guy is dominating offensively. Indeed, he's also a quality guy. We had more fun talking with him. He was a walk-on. Now he's an All-American. He also is brilliant. He's a great student. Last week he got his MBA. The guy is just what top football is all about.
I've been called everything. Clark Kent, Kurt Rambis, Drew Carey, you name it, I've been called it.
Listen to every Razorback football game this season right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Tired of spending all your hard-earned cash at the gas pump right now? Wheeler Power Sports is here to help you out. They have a giant selection of motorcycles and scooters to help maximize fuel efficiency. There are over 50 scooters in stock right now, with some getting up to 100 miles per gallon. Wheeler also has a great selection of motorcycles from the Kawasaki, Suzuki, and Kymco. Check out their full inventory at WheelerPowersports.com or check out their showroom in person at 901 North 11th Street near downtown Fort Smith. Wheeler Power Sports. Keep it the good times rolling.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Colorworks Paint and Body in Barling offers professional automotive painting, bodywork, and fabrication that is unsurpassed in talent and dedication. Owner Andy Harrod uses the latest in collision repair technology to ensure all damage is addressed, whether it's visible or hidden, and works with all insurance companies. Andy and his crew have the experience and commitment to give you complete trust in the repair of your vehicle, no matter the size of the job. Colorworks is located at 1206 4th Street in Barling, across from Dollar General, and is on Facebook, where you can check out their work.
The adventure starts at Tackle Box for sportsmen just like you.
We all know those tackle places we find along streams and rivers that we just have to stop in and check out their lures. Kind of off the beaten path and probably a little rustic. Well, we have that same kind of place right here in the heart of Fort Smith. For almost 50 years, the Tackle Box has been serving up all the supplies and equipment you could ever think of and more. The Tackle Box, 3001 0 Street, Fort Smith.
The adventure starts at Tackle Box for sportsmen just like you.
The American Patriot Promotions Gun Show is coming to the Sebastian County Fairgrounds in Greenwood, Saturday, May the 4th and Sunday, May the 5th. Tickets are just $10 per person, $8 for veterans, military, and active police force. Plus, children 16 and under get in free. On Saturday, the event goes from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. and Sunday from 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. For more information, go to AmericanPatriotPromotions.com. May the 4th be with you.
Pay attention. This happens fast. You need money. You get a job. Turns out that job doesn't pay near enough for the nonsense it puts you through every day. You want to move fast, but the clock moves slow. You're smart, though. You know machines. You want to work at a place as fast as you. You call Medley Equipment Company. They need a technician, and they'll teach you everything you need to know to be the best, with pay raises all along. Because Medley keeps you moving.
I'm Branch Manager Dennis Mabry. Visit medleycompany.com or see us at 4001 Harper Avenue, Fort Smith, Arkansas.
Drive a compact SUV that has more style, power, and technology with the 2023 Buick Envision at Harry Robinson Buick GMC right now. Get 1.9% financing for 60 months on remaining 2023 Buick Envisions. Or choose up to $3,500 in factory discounts. The Buick Envision, it's all about you and designed to inspire. Experience the new Buick at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Join the conversation. Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now back to the host. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
There's the official news. The Orioles did make the release just a couple of minutes ago. Former Razorback Heston Kirsten going up from AAA Norfolk to the big league. So now it's official. Good for him. We got Bill King with us on the McClarty Daniel hotline. Speaking of big leaguers, the king of college football talk, hosting on WNSR Monday through Friday from 6 to 9. Hey, Bill, how you doing?
Hey, guys. Doing well.
Good, man. Portal madness these days. Portal madness. And as far as Arkansas basketball is concerned, you know, you may end up with much more than 50% of what was going to be Kentucky's incoming class for basketball. But now it's like you got to start saying this a different way. Kentucky's incoming class. No, it wasn't. It was Cal's incoming class. We learn about players that are committing to the coach and not to the program.
The old coaching mantra that players commit to schools and not coaches is one of the biggest lies perpetuated for centuries. And some still try and perpetuate it. It's not true. But here's what's going on in Arkansas. Coach Cal, you're going to have the best recruiting class pretty much every year. One or two, and likely number one. The only debate will be, what's he going to do with them? Last 5 years, it's been very questionable. Before that, he absolutely took their youth, and did well with them. That's the unknown. That's the only question that we need to know about Arkansas and Cal.
Hey, Bill, how would you navigate this transfer portal? You kind of see you see some guys stay mainly high school, and that you kind of got to get out of that mindset. But do you think it's you got to have a good mix of veteran guys and a couple 5-star freshmen? Because in my opinion, you at least got to have somebody out there that's an NBA guy.
Now, okay. Basketball.
Sorry, that was a lot of stuff right there.
Yeah, no worries. I was just football and basketball would be a different answer, but I think Duke is struggling with it too, the one and done thing, and I think you need a veteran mix, and then having young superstars. That's fine, maybe 2 to 3 a year. Now again, how many teams can sign that kind of high school kid? Not many. There's a few that do it, and it depends on how good your coach is developing. UConn, I don't think, is a big recruiting ranking school, but look what's happening. They're not ranked anywhere close to Kentucky or Duke. Years in recruiting depends on who your lead guy is too. The coaching horsepower of the head guy sitting on the bench is a huge thing as well, and that's another question about Cal. Now, I personally, if you said, Bill, I'm going to make you bet, I think he probably gets his batteries recharged and makes another good run here at Arkansas. That's where I'm betting, but it is legit to question it.
Man, I think you're right on, because you think of UConn, they just won the national championship, just repeated, and their best player that's going to get drafted the highest was a true freshman, number 5. And I know I brought him up after the game, thinking if he was a portal guy. But he wasn't the best player on the team right now, so to speak, but he was the athlete. He was the NBA guy. And I think Klingon, I actually like him more than Edey at the next level. So you got to have some pieces too, but you got to have that youngster. I would think about having a guy like Anthony Black, like we had last year, and then you being able to put a couple veterans around him.
You think any of those Oakland County, Michigan, that beat Kentucky? You think one of those kids, that one kid that had 32 and he transferred from Hillsdale, which is D3, you think any of those players that beat Kentucky are going to have a better career than the Kentucky kids? Not one of them. But that's the formula. The formula's changed now a little bit.
Captain Jack was 26 years old, I think. The kid that was in Fuego, but you got Dillingham. He can't guard a See, that's the thing. You're right on. Dillingham is a freshman at Kentucky. Can do it whatever he wants on the offensive side of the ball. He doesn't know how to play defense yet, But here in 4 years, when he can develop, but now he's a one and done, and he's going to go. I mean, you think he's going to go G League it for a while. It's not like he's going to be in any meaningful NBA games for a while.
The Shepherd kid, who was their least ranked player, top 50 in America, that's really good, but somewhere in there was their best freshman. Now, he played the heck out of defense. Now, he's the one player. He was a phenomenal defender, and as you could see, he could score any way you want to score. Now, what happened to him is in that first-round NCAA game, it got in his head and he couldn't make a shot. He was 1 for 15 or something, and he was throwing the ball away. I never saw him play like that. And that's another thing. Young guy like that, now it's one and done. For the first time in your life, maybe you're losing some confidence. Everybody's looking at you and you can't get it back. That's when you need veterans to save you.
Hey, Bill, I know Arkansas just got a commit from a running back from Florida State. Ole Miss just got a commit from a running back from Miami. Henry Parrish Jr. Looked like he had a couple of good years with Miami. But I also think, was this the kid that when he had his commitment ceremony, had the 4 hats in front of him, he put all 4 hats on his head and then took them off and put them, maybe there are more kids that are doing this, and I just saw that because he'd been in the portal, but it's like, yeah, but I mean, is this somebody that can legit replace or at least give some of the production that the Junkins had given Ole Miss?
No. No. I believe he'd been at Ole Miss, if I'm not mistaken. But
you're right. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah,
that's crazy
that's even
how
more
this works
funny.
out.
No, Quinshon Judkins, best running back in America. Now, good, decent running backs are easy to find, like wide receivers in college in the portal. They're on every street corner. D tackles are impossible to find. D ends are very difficult to find. And cover corner, is a 1 in a million guy, a legit cover corner. I don't mean a guy that plays the position. I mean a guy that actually can play cover corner effectively. That's maybe you got a better chance at needle in a haystack. Let me ask you this, guys. In all of your perusing the portal, whether it was the one back in December or the one now, how many cover corners do you recall getting taken?
0. Right. It's harder. It's easier to hit a curveball than it is to be a cover corner. I mean, I'm with you, Bill. Cover corner, they're the best athletes in the world.
If you're out hunting, right now Arkansas is a wonderful hunting state, as we know. You guys live there. You got a better chance of seeing an albino unicorn than a cover corner who's good.
We're looking for the ivory-billed woodpecker here in Arkansas, generally.
Tom the turkey right now.
That's right. I mean, you feel the same way about left tackle too. I mean, it's the positions that you're going to put your money into in the NFL is probably the same positions you're going to put as much money as you can into college and hold on to those guys. Like you'll sign your starting left tackle who's all pro to a 5 or 6 year deal. I mean, you can't do 5 or 6 in college, but you can try your best to keep them there for 4.
I think Ole Miss in the portal in the early one took 4 left tackles. I'm not kidding. They took kids from Ole Miss. They took 2 from Washington. Both weren't left tackles. And they took another left tackle I'm forgetting about. But your point, a true left tackle. I don't mean a guy that you have to put there because you need your best 5 out there and you don't have a true left tackle. I mean a true Joe Alt Notre Dame left tackle is rare. It's not as rare as a cover corner like Ben Morrison, who's at Notre Dame, but it's rare.
Hey, Bill, over on Kentucky Proud Park last week, Tennessee had a pretty loud statement. Not just a series win against Kentucky, but a road series win against Kentucky. I mean, you kind of have 4 teams that have separated themselves from everyone else, and Tennessee is just sort of like stalking a little bit behind A&M, behind Arkansas, behind Kentucky. But with that lineup, I mean, it's everybody in that lineup. They're just as scary as anybody else.
Christian Moore hit 4 home runs, their second baseman, in 2 games. Went 9 for 11 and like 10 or 11 RBIs. It's insane. Their first 5, I can't imagine. And guys, I do not check lineups in college baseball. I love it, but I don't peruse it like college football. But I can't imagine a 1 through 5 being better than theirs. There is a potential 20 home run guy and 350 hitter in each one of those slots, 1 through 5. Everyone, and all of them have over 10, 15 home runs right now. And their schedule, guys, is Missouri and some teams that they're better than, Florida, Vanderbilt. They're better than all those teams. Their schedule gets more forgiving down the stretch. Now, do they pitch it like Arkansas? No. They're not in Arkansas's category. Tennessee starting 3 pitchers would not get to pitch Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for Arkansas as a star. That's the difference.
And it's too bad those teams are not on the schedule. Maybe we see them in Hoover. Maybe we see them.
They never are.
But they were last year. It's just not this year.
That's true.
Hopefully next year they will. But, there's something about, you always see SEC teams play each other in Omaha. So I'm sure that of the 4 teams I just mentioned, there'll be 2 or 3 of them, maybe even all 4 of them that end up playing each other in Omaha. But then there's LSU. So LSU has fallen off. And college baseball is so weird. Not just with the whole, number 1 seed thing isn't won since 99, but the last 3 national champions, if LSU doesn't get somehow to 16 or 17 SEC wins, they're going to be left out of the tournament. They're 5-13. That'd be 3 years in a row. 3 years in a row that the national champion doesn't even make the NCAA tournament the next year. And I think the last 2, Mississippi State and Ole Miss, have missed out on Hoover, not just the national tournament, but the conference tournament. What are the chances that Michigan falls off the way that LSU has this year in football?
Probably not, even though I do think they may win 8-9 games, but I don't think it'll be just a catastrophe. And the other thing about LSU guys is whether it's recruiting or whether it's portal, they're as good as anybody. Ole Miss and Mississippi State are good, but they don't replenish like LSU. And you're right, they're in much jeopardy of getting in.
Bill, let's leave it there. Always appreciate your time. Thank you, and we'll reconvene next week.
Thanks, Bill.
It's Bill King, Nashville Sports Radio. We appreciate him joining us each Tuesday here on Halftime. How was it, Matt?
You know, Phil, I kick and scream the whole way, and then I get there, and it's actually okay.
You look like you were having fun. I came in, I watched over during a couple of the commercial breaks. You looked comfortable.
It was it was soccer people. You had Ante, who played in the Canadian national team, which was cool. And then you had Coach Nick, who he's from South Africa, but came up in the academy, and that's you're kind of looking for the vision of what they're doing. And then I've been a big fan of Jonathan Wardlaw for years. When they started this thing, I believe 2015 or so. So yeah, it was it was cool, but it's good that it's over. It's like, ooh.
Is it still going to be a long year?
Yeah, it's fun.
It's always a long year. That's the truth. 877-377-6963 for calls and texts on the McClarty Daniel hotline. It's not going to be a long show. We're into the home stretch, and we'll be right back in a moment.
This is Halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McClarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McClarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McClarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is the #1 source for all your sports betting this season and every season. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends all at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. The fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite leagues and events. Go to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure you use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. Bet online, where the game starts.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor Abe from Woodland. Read about it.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McCarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McCarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McCarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab.
EGOT. That's the Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony Award. I don't know how. I mean, that's the, like Whoopi Goldberg has the EGOT. That's the rarest thing to get. That's like the Grand Slam of awards.
Grand Slam of turkeys. Yeah, an Osceola, an Eastern, a Rio, and I always forget that fourth one. But yeah, you can Grand Slam and turkey hunt.
I think somebody had called up or sent a text in about the Grand Slams of turkeys before.
We
did not realize that was a real thing.
Yeah, we had the turkey call last year.
There's Grand Slam in tennis, right? Okay.
Golf.
It is the Grand Slam in golf.
There's 4 majors.
Well, they're called majors. That is a Grand Slam if you get all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you get your Grand Slam in that. Baseball is where the Grand Slam was invented. Denny's makes Grand Slams. They still do that? It's still a thing.
Absolutely.
Sure. It's always going to be a thing there. And then there's a Grand Slam of turkeys. There's a World Series of poker. There are various World Series events. Of course, the name only came from baseball and the World Series. So how many other Grand Slams are there? That's an interesting one. I don't know. Anybody out there know? 877-377-6963. Jaden Quaintance is not going to be an Arkansas Razorback basketball player. So this is coming from Eric Bossy, who covers basketball. He's the national basketball director at 247 Sports. So his sources say that Jaden Quaintance has eliminated the Razorbacks. So that's not going to happen. So there's more news. You know, in the last 30 minutes, we learned Boogie Fland is making a visit, and that Jaden Quaintance will not be joining John Calipari at Arkansas. I think he had just visited Louisville, and had. You never know what some of these things mean when people say it. Said the visit was okay. It was good. You know, to those who were trying to read the tea leaves, be like, why didn't he just like bubble over about it? But not going to be a Razorback. So there's a little bit of news as far as that goes.
Yeah, there's always next year is what I say.
Mm-hmm.
The way these guys are jumping in the microwave, in the skillet, the warp zone, whatever we want to call it, the frying pan, there's always next year, because it seems like that's just the in vogue thing to do. As soon as the season's over, you have your exit meetings, and then you're just like, yeah, we'll go ahead and enter the portal just to check it. I mean, what would you do? How would you advise your 19-year-old son, Phil, if he was at a university and he's playing ball and your coach leaves? And I mean, we can say Arkansas if you want to say in-state kid, but it doesn't seem like it has to be in-state kid anymore. And they're like, yeah, well, he's still gonna, but you don't know who the coach is coming in. I mean, do you just say hold off and wait, and then when the coach gets there, have a meeting with him, or do you just like, let's just jump in the portal and see what's out there?
I mean, if you commit to if you commit to a coach at a school, and if you still like the school, your surroundings, and I guess you would look at it as your teammates too, but they all have to look at it that same way. You look at the guys who are in the locker room with you, and it's the knowledge that I might like how this team is put together now and the chemistry. And yeah, here's 2 or 3 of my boys that I really love being around and love being a teammate with. But that doesn't mean that they're going to stay there, for another year. It just doesn't. So you have to think about yourself.
Doesn't even mean you're going to be in the same conference next year. Pac-12, ACC, what's going on? I mean, logistically, there's not, the only thing certain is uncertainty. It seems like, and then you have the SEC and the Big Ten. Those are the 2 powers.
I think it also is a matter of this is a time-honored thing that we have to remember. The grass is not always greener, right? You get sick of one job, so you can picture that any other job is going to be better than the one that you have right now. You hate your boss's stupid face. You hate the hours that go into it, whatever you got to do at home for that, your other coworkers that just annoy the heck out of you, and you just don't like what you're doing. It doesn't necessarily mean that the next thing you pick is the thing that saves everything for you, that makes it all okay. It's the same with where you live, your house, the next relationship, that kind of thing. It's just it doesn't always work that way. It's just, I guess sometimes we feel like the way that I pictured things going where I am now, it's not going that way. So I'm going to go somewhere else because it'll be better there. And it really doesn't always work like that. And I think parents, you learn this with experience. You learn this with age. You learn this with making the bad decision sometimes that's based on, hey, that grass over there is greener than the grass I'm standing on. And then you find out 2 months later, it really isn't. It was painted green, and it's really brown, and it's dead.
It's AstroTurf.
And it was never watered.
Lexington, what are y'all doing?
Right. So, this isn't to be critical of those who are going into the portal and feel that they're doing the decision that makes sense for them. But if I was a parent and I'm trying to talk to a kid about this, it'd be the same conversation I have with my kids right now that are 11 and 14. It's like, well, if they wanted to switch school from one to another, and that has nothing to do with athletics, let's sit here and talk about this.
Like make a list, kind of go through. Brainstorming, however you got to go about it. But yeah, open dialogue, I think, would be the first thing.
And Matt, if it's also about, like Chuck had said earlier, and I think that there's some validity to this. You look at there's a definitive end to your time as a college athlete. Once your eligibility is up, it's done, at least for now. You try to maximize your earning potential as that college athlete because you can now, right? And that's a whole different way of looking at it, or a whole different way of understanding what college athletics is about than it was even 2 or 3 years ago. Now that it's kind of out, now it's all out in the open, and it feels, I know not everybody's getting paid, but then somebody goes into the portal, they're thinking, I'm going to go somewhere where I'm making more money too.
Could you go through the G League for a year and then go to college? Because that's what I would start telling kids to do. It would be like, if you're
go see what it's like over there with these men.
100%. You're 17 years old. If you can get paid, you're going to go get better and make a little bit of money, but you're going to get better, and then you're going to be 2 years older going back to college. You're going to make more money. If you're telling me this, I have 5 years to make my money, I'm not going to college till I'm 23. Why would you go to college at 17 and in your first 2 years you're not really that good?
You're speaking.
Let's wait till I get better and I grow. Everybody knows at 23 you're more of an athlete than you are when you're 7. Let's see if I can find another way to go make money or do whatever and still perfect my craft, and then you go into college. I mean, because it's an unregulated market.
You're also speaking to the 17-year-old me. When I look back at, when I wasn't going to college for athletics, but it's like, you know what? Maybe take a year, learn a little bit about yourself as a person, because who I was in high school was not who I was in college. I had no clue who I was then. I can't imagine that these kids even really know who they are then either, because they're the stars where they are, but where they're going next, it might not necessarily work out that way. But yeah, it's just. And it's not to be critical of thinking that there might be a place that's better for you, where you can play, where you're more comfortable. But I think it's more of a matter of let's sit for a minute. Let's actually take stock of where I am right now and that it might not actually be any better at the next place. I think of like a Snacks Johnson. So you lose your starting role, you're playing a vicious sport. You're playing a vicious sport. What's to say that Danico Slaughter doesn't get hurt in the second game of the season?
What's wrong with competition? That's my thing. Are you getting paid more money? Because you're right, Phil. You can compete, and then all of a sudden, if you're good enough, we're going to find a spot for you out there. It's and you need to have somebody. The defensive players rotate more than offensive players.
Sure. Well, that's a good. That's exactly right. So, but it's. And he could always come back, I guess. I mean, it's up to Coach Pittman and Coach Williams whether or not they would take him back after he goes into the portal. But with somebody with that kind of experience, I'm sure that it was a meeting. Hey, this is going to be Slaughter's role right now. But so his I think his pride is hurt, and he views himself in a way that the coaches don't. But that also doesn't mean that you transfer right now after spring ball and you're starting for whomever. I mean, does he go Henry Parrish leaves Ole Miss, goes to Miami, comes back to Ole Miss? Does Snacks look to go back to Baylor, right? Where he was before? I don't know what the situation is with Baylor as far as their secondary is concerned. But the grass is not always greener. It just can't work that way. What can work is that we can break and we can come back and we can tell you if the grass was green or if it was painted and if anybody mowed it and if it needs fertilizer right after this.
This is halftime.
Are you tired of the overcrowded fitness centers? Would you like a fitness option where you can actually work out? Then let's hang out. The Hangout is Sportsman's newest fitness facility. It has an 8,000 square foot gym, indoor tennis, pickleball, and basketball with more sports coming soon. The Hangout offers group and individual training in the gym and boasts 3 active tennis pros to help you grow your game. Stop in today at 5400 Gary Street or thehangoutfs.com for more information. Be a part of something different. Fitness, sports, and more. Let's hang out.
Hey, I'm Hagan Smith. As an Arkansas pitcher, I know the importance of precision, skill, and keeping cool under pressure. That's why for your home, choosing the right team for heating and air is just as important. You want professionals who bring their best game. When it comes to staying comfortable, I rely on Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric. They'll send pros to take care of your home, too. Sign up now for Pascal's Planned Protection membership before the summer heat for only $8.99 a month. Never pay for a tune-up again when they're included in your membership. Professional people, professional service. Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
Brothers Roofing and Restoration, a licensed and insured local roofing contractor in Arkansas. Since his playing days for the Hogs, Brother Alexander has been on rooftops, many years as an adjuster, and in the past decade as a roofing contractor. He knows how to help you through the insurance process while replacing your roof using only the industry's best materials. And being a lifelong Arkansan, he'll be here to stand behind his workmanship and warranty. Call 479-353-3877 to arrange a time for Brother and his team to inspect your roof.
Hi folks, Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where it's spring cleaning time. The lot is blooming with fresh road-ready certified inventory and weekly specials that could save you up to $4,000. If you're keeping the car you have, let us take care of it for you in the Meineke Car Care Center with half-off brakes and buy 3 get 1 free on all tires. Better yet, trade today and save up to $4,000 during spring cleaning at Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where all the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath, just north of Phoenix on Towson, Fort Smith.
Largemouth bass will be spawning soon at ponds and lakes all over Arkansas and Oklahoma. One of the best lures to catch them on at this time is the famous Yum Dinger. We make them by the truckloads in Fort Smith in 3, 4, 5, and 6-inch sizes, and they are in tackle boxes of bass anglers all over the U.S. and all over the world. Wacky rigging the 5-inch model can't be beat for spawning bass. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, Lure.net.com, and tackle stores all over the place. The Yum Dinger.
If you are involved in a divorce or custody case, you want an attorney you can trust to guide you through the process. The attorneys at Hickey & Hole Law Partners have over 7 decades of combined experience. Hickey & Hole have seen and heard nearly every scenario you can imagine, ready to put that experience to work for you to get the best results. Visit KevinHickeyLaw.com or give them a call today, 479-434-2414. Hickey & Hole Law Partners. Things are about to get better.
Get ready to call the Hogs in 2024 and be there for the best home schedule in program history. Don't miss out on all you love about football game days on the Hill. Every voice matters, and we need Razorback Stadium rocking all season long from marquee matchups against Tennessee, LSU, Ole Miss, and longtime rival and new SEC foe, the Texas Longhorns. For more information about Razorback football tickets, visit ArkansasRazorbacks.com.
If you've lived in the River Valley for a while, you know about the great reputation of Jam Mart. And their newest location at 6201 Grand Avenue in Fort Smith is open. Stop by for coffee, gas, beer, snacks, ices, and a clean restroom every time. Don't forget about the hot deli and fresh-made burgers. Now 7 locations in Fort Smith, Greenwood, Boonville, Ozark, and Danville. Sign up for their loyalty program for discounts throughout the stores. Jam Mart, the leading convenience store and gas station in the region.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Nibbling on sponge cake, watching the sun bake. All of those tourists covered with oil, strumming my 6-string on my front porch swing. Smell those shrimp, they're beginning to boil. Wasting away again in Margaritaville, searching for my lost sugar salt. Some people claim that there's but I know.
Welcome back into Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Studios. Crabtree RV Center in Alma, where we make your dreams come true.
Another one that's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was Jimmy Buffett. Probably should have been inducted while he was alive. That feels a little cruel.
They got a little. I was trying to read some of the criteria, and they've changed a little bit. It's. I don't know if they're getting.
Well, while you were gone, I made a case to change the name of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just to the Music Hall of Fame, right? It's like we need an all-encompassing sports Hall of Fame because like Peter Frampton, short, rock and roll, Foreigner, whether you call it pop or rock. I mean, I think they were rock and roll. They were rock pop. Dave Matthews Band, okay. Mary J. Blige is not rock and roll. I love A Tribe Called Quest. I mean, I absolutely love Tribe. That's not rock and roll. They belong in a Hall of Fame, a music Hall of Fame, absolutely. Dave Matthews Band, though. Now, I remember they played the first ever concert at Dickie Stevens Park. That would have been, I think, 2008. It was a great night.
Yeah.
That was a great night.
My first show was a Dave show at Alltel. When it was Alltel, I want to say I was a junior in high school, freshman in college, somewhere around that 17-year-old age, yeah.
Just saw them at the AMP. It was a couple of Octobers ago, I think.
Well, they kind of, folksy. Yeah, it's, but I think that there is an element of pop to all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think they all have, you got to have a little pop in you. You don't have to be Sting, so to speak, but you got to have a little pop in you.
Well, it's like, those who are going in for musical excellence, I'd not heard of before. So those would be the Iggy Pop ones. MC5. I don't know who MC5 is. I don't know who Alexis Corner is. John Mayall, Norman Whitfield. These are all going in for either being influences or for musical excellence, and those are the ones who just, the other artists, the performers, the ones that we all have heard of, Cher, Dionne Warwick, Frampton, Foreigner. They're the ones that have the influence. Their influences are probably already in the Hall of Fame. That's cool. DMB was your first ever concert. Saw them, I think it's been 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
My first concert was Barry Manilow.
Nice.
Probably age 3.
Nice.
Taken with my parents.
What's your last show you've been to? Last concert.
Man, what was the last concert? I think it was Black Crowes.
Okay.
When they played at the amphitheater downtown here and put on the whole what's the name of the album? I can't remember the name of the album. Southern Culture album with the 5 or 6 different words on it. They're now opening for who is it? They're opening for somebody that's a big deal. It'd be a good show to go see. Of course, I'm always up for a Weird Al show. Like the day that Weird Al goes into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is the day that the Earth falls out of orbit.
Yeah, my first couple weeks here working with you and our former producer, y'all would not. You could tell, you could see the passion. It was almost it reminded me of my passion for soccer that you have for Weird Al.
That's about right. Yeah, that's about right. And I know Maddie loved him too, and still does.
Because y'all went to a show. Was it COVID show? And there was a glass up, and you couldn't get to him.
Well, we could stand there and say something to him through a pane of glass.
I mean, he probably liked it better.
He nodded his head like he actually heard what we said. It sounded good. It sounded really good. The Black Crows belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, I'm an inclusive person. I'm inclusive. Let them in. Let's tell a story here. Let's tell a story about great music. Black Crows are great.
Longevity has to have something to do with it. I think that's one of the topics, one of the criteria, especially Sports Hall of Fame, but musically as well.
It's like they say for some athletes that get into the Hall of Fame, like Harold Baines. Oh, he was just a stat compiler. All he did was compile stats. Be like, well, that means he was actually healthy for an appreciable amount of time at a time where there were other people that would have trouble bending over to pick something up off the floor.
Matt Ryan announced his retirement. We can get into that tomorrow a little bit. Is he a Hall of Famer? You know, he had that one Super Bowl run, but when he retired, he was top 10 all time in a couple different categories.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because top 10 now means so much different than it did.
Played 15 years.
Talk about longevity, too. That's halftime for your Tuesday. Matt Jones made it through the entire. You did longer than an hour, man.
Woo.
You did longer than
Woo.
That's a woo. That's not a woo. And I'll be with you guys at 5:30 for the Dugout Show. 6 o'clock first pitch, Arkansas UAPB, and now we'll be back with you tomorrow. Get up, get out, and get better.
Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedure for you and your family.